The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
My wife and I were the first couple in our social group to have a baby. We had a daughter, and sometimes, like, friends without children will come up to us and go like, I don't have kids, but I know exactly what you're going through because my cat is just like a kid. Really? When was the last time you kicked yourself for saying something that might make your cat grow up to be a stripper?
I will not eat cat poop.
One of the worst things I'm allergic to are cats, which sucks as a guy because it's really one of the most emasculating things in the world to be allergic to are cats. You know? Like I walk into a friend's house, hey dude, what's going on? Is that a cat? Oh my God. Get away. I just wish I was allergic to something really manly and dangerous, you know? Like I start sneezing, I go, oh, what are you allergic to? Ninjas.
Hello, you cool cats and kittens.
Holy cats, that was crazy.
Okay, here we go. Showtime.
What the hell's going on? It looks like we're ready to roll here with a Tuesday edition of our program, the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Good morning, and thank you for tuning us in. Is it some kind of a cat celebration day?
International Cat Day. I know you are a cat owner, a lover of cats. You
yes,
celebrate
my son.
Maybe some extra catnip. Your cat, maybe a laser pointer. What else do cats like?
Good kick in the ass once in a while.
Oh, they like to be kicked.
I got all that stuff around the house, I think. Catnip and laser pointers. Yeah, we could have some kind of extra fun, like what's the term I'm searching for? Like a happy hour. me and the cat could have a happy hour together today. We could get out all of that stuff you mentioned. Sure, I'm willing to make that effort. But it's the funniest thing that it's cat. What do you call it?
International Cat Day.
That's the funniest thing because yesterday, when I left for work, right, the cat was at the house, right, and then we put in a day's work yesterday, and I came back to the house, and he was still there.
Was he really?
Yeah, and now today it's International Cat Day. This is all kind of coming together.
Do you have one of those cats that will greet you, or does he just not care?
Cubby, he can't wait to see me.
That's awesome.
He comes running for me.
Cute.
Yeah, we have a good thing going, me and him.
More anxiety than Hair Jesus said, fun fact, he actually had cat scratch fever for real when he was younger.
Oh, I didn't know it was a real thing.
Who, Ted Nugget?
Yep.
No, the actual condition.
Who?
More anxiety than Hair Jesus. Yes.
That listener had cat scratch fever.
Correct.
Jesus Christ, I'm drinking too much beer lately.
It's like an infection after you get scratched, or maybe even a bite from a cat.
Yeah, I remember hearing some stories.
Yeah, because they get like litter in their claws.
Something like that.
Yep.
Isn't it a lymph node deal?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Doesn't look like a fun process.
More anxiety than Hair Jesus. When he was a kid, he friggin' had the real deal cat scratch fever.
Maybe that's what made him so nervous and bald.
Oh, Jesus.
Nick, has any of your cats ever like sprayed when they're terrified? No?
I've never seen that gimmick. I've heard stories, but I've never seen it happen.
Oh, I thought sprayed was different. I thought that was the procreation garbage.
That's what I've always heard.
No, it is.
See, I know.
Awful.
So I'm willing to go with whatever theory you guys collectively want to go with as to what the definition of a cat spraying is, because I've never experienced it in any way, shape, or form.
It is the worst smelling thing ever. My boyfriend has a cat. Her name's Mari. Shout out to Mari. And
is she a listener?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remind me, Josh, I'd like to make my own cat shout-outs later, but go right ahead, Ashley.
So my boyfriend's dog and my dog kind of went after her at the same time, and
nice.
It just absolutely terrified the poor thing, and it sprayed like this gunk everywhere.
Ugh.
Oh, it smelled so bad.
So it's a defense mechanism?
Yeah, I mean that's what my boyfriend said, but it was like
a
this,
skunk.
Yeah, and it was like this weird color. It's like a dark color.
I don't know anything about it. And what did you you and Wapple seem to think it's something else?
I thought it was when they weren't neutered.
Yeah.
Oh, they have orgasms all over
that's
them?
what I thought it was.
That's what I've heard.
Well,
I don't know. She's neutered, so.
I'll have to ask.
True, yeah.
I'll ask the vet because I've never stepped in any of that over the years of having a cat in the house. I've never gotten a dose of that.
Not pleasant.
I'm pretty lucky, I guess. It doesn't sound like the greatest thing in the world.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking it up. This cat spraying, according to WebMD, where anytime I Google anything, I have cancer.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus, that's no good.
That it looks like it might be urine.
Okay.
I'll read on this a little
I've
further.
heard that also as a definition of a cat spraying.
Yuck.
That's a lot
pee
better.
Smells bad.
It
Cat
does.
pee smells bad.
Oh,
All
really?
the
I
ammonia.
didn't know that. Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
Gross.
Puffin cat pee.
No, I don't know that gimmick. I'm fascinated by all the different theories, though, as to what it is. I did have a dog once that marked my mother as its territory by lifting its leg and urinating on her. That was one of the more interesting things I've ever seen in my life. This is when we were young high school kids. We had a couple of Springer Spaniels. One of them, the elder Springer Spaniel was Megan Marie, the best girl in the whole world. And then she had a litter of puppies, and we kept one of the puppies. His name was Pat. And Pat got very territorial as he got older. And one day my mom walked in from work and said, "Hello, boys, I'm home for work." And the dog walked up and lifted his leg and just let her buck on my mother while staring at my brother and I as if to say, she belongs to me now.
We've had dogs since I was a little kid. And for the first time ever, I have a dog that pees on fire hydrants. I've never had one before. I thought, this is an actual dog. Finally, I've got an actual dog.
It's doing all the cliche dog things you've always dreamed of.
Yeah, and he cannot walk by a fire hydrant without peeing on it.
That's kind of cool, isn't
It
it?
is cool.
It's kind of fun.
I mean, I almost told my wife, if it wasn't creepy, we should videotape this because I'm so excited.
Yeah.
She's had dogs that have done that. I never have. First real dog I've ever had. Oh, geez, Jesus said he heard that kids today are getting high off cat pee. Come on, that's not true. Is that true?
The kids in South Park.
Oh, it's a South Park reference?
I think so.
I'm an idiot. You're right. By the way, people are telling us, Ashley, that dog, your cat, had diarrhea.
Oh. I mean, we're getting all kinds of text messages now on cats and spraying and what it means, and there are words being texted into me like, for instance, ass juice. And,
like the anal gland.
All kinds of things.
Ass and juice are two words you don't want to hear back to back.
Well, there was a local band called Dumpster Juice back in the day. I remember being equally impressed and disgusted when I first heard that name.
I believe that Dumpster Juice was the headline act at the very, very First Avenue rock and wrestling combo, which now is WrestlePalooza and has been going on for many years. Maybe a guy like Eric Cannon or someone could tell me if I'm right about that, although he was probably in 7th grade. But anyway, the very first official First Avenue show where they mixed metal, rock, and wrestling, I think that the headline act was Dumpster Juice.
Never seen him.
Oh, I saw him a couple times.
Did you?
Back in the day.
Yeah, I had a friend, he used to work at Newt Capay, Nick, music store in Uptown back in the day.
Well, speaking of the upper crust of society.
Oh, yeah. It did sound like a lame claim to fame, didn't it?
Well, no, not at all. That's not where I was.
I didn't mean it that way.
That's not what I meant by that. That's not where I was going with that. But when I was a young person, maybe you experienced the same thing. What I was referencing is when we used to walk into Newt Capay, the employees at Newt Capay wanted you to know that they are musicians.
Oh, yeah.
And
they weren't the big corporate guitar center, right? That was kind of the gist they had back then. But I did love that store.
Yes. And if you were a 17-year-old kid looking for a drum set, they wanted to make sure first they I'm having a hard time how to explain this. Like they would make sure, I can't come up with the terms, but they would make sure you knew and you understood that you are just a punk, stupid 17-year-old kid. I am a musician.
Yeah, you're right about that. It was kind of like, you don't know how to sweet pick?
Right.
Do you even know how to hold a guitar? Yeah,
Right.
that kind of thing.
That's what I remember about that joint.
I will say there's one exception. His name was Gil, and he worked there, and I worshipped this guy because he looked the part. He was an awesome singer. I went and saw him play at, what was that rock place in Oakdale?
Jesus, I stayed away from Oakdale.
Yeah, I did, except for when they played.
When I was a kid.
Shoot. Somebody will know it.
A bar that had live music in Oakdale?
Yeah. When we were a little older, we played there a few times. It was a cool place.
I wouldn't be able to help you with that.
Yeah, maybe somebody
Gil did gigs at the place?
Yeah, he was the lead singer. Cool-looking dude. He was awesome. I mean, this guy, he was probably one of the first people in my life that I knew that I absolutely worshiped. I was the right age. He was the right age. It was fun. So I do miss hanging out at that place. But you're right. Some of the guys would look at you like, do you have any place else to go? Mm-hmm. We're musicians here. Mm-hmm. People are, including the Impaler Crew Jesus, are telling us that dumpster juice is still around. That's great. I'm glad they've got that longevity.
I'll tell you right now. Where are we going now? The text machine, like I said, is already cooking, even at this unholy hour. And again, a lot of text coming in about cat fluids and now guitar shops. But, you can always get a hold of us. The number is 651-989-9393. You can always get a hold of us on the text message machine thing. Cubby, sometimes our wonderful listening audience uses the text machine to message each other. Not just messages sent to us, but sometimes they use the text machine to message each other. Like this here, I just received from Stray Dog Jesus. He texted, "Good morning to you all," but then he also makes it clear he does not want to wish a good morning to someone called Itches When I Fart Jesus.
Oh, man. Any follow-up?
No, there's no follow-up here.
We got to give equal time, right? Isn't that the rule in radio?
It is, yeah.
So if Itches When I Fart Jesus is listening, you have an opportunity here to respond.
Yeah, get
I
back
think we
to it.
legally have to do it.
Legally. Just to show you that our text messaging machine is a multi-purpose unit. It's not just for messaging us and then we get back to you. You can also take cheap shots at other listeners if you have a minute. What else is going on around here? Janel Klein's going to swing by later?
That'll be great.
Sweet.
All right.
She puts a smile on your face. Dick Bremer's going to join us.
Oh, God,
I almost Twins baseball.
Forgot about Dick Bremer. It's already been a week. We're going to talk to him again today. Great. 7:30 when Randy jumps in.
One of my favorite, you just reminded me, one of my favorite parts of after the show, which is usually a nightmare, is when we're talking about what's coming up and we're like, oh yeah, Dr. P's on tomorrow, which he is, by the way, Dr. P's on tomorrow. And you go, it's been 2 weeks already? It's pretty much every time. Right, guys?
Yeah, this is true.
It's what? No, he was just on. Like, no, that was 2 weeks ago.
I'm having trouble with the concept of time. It is really, it really threw me the other day when you brought up, Dr. P. Jesus making another appearance on the show. We have him on every 2 weeks. It threw me when you brought his name up yesterday or whatever it was, and I just can't believe 2 weeks goes by so quickly. We're a little over 2 weeks away from the state fair.
Heck yeah.
Well, don't get me wrong. I always love the state fair. I'm the mayor of that effing joint. And don't cross me. But it's just bada bing, bada bang, and summer's over kind of a thing.
Yeah, I like to, with my kids, remind them that they're about to go back to school.
Of course.
Now, the older two are done.
Of course.
And my stepson just graduated college. We're very proud.
That's awesome.
We're very proud.
Who graduated college?
My stepson just graduated college. First of the family to graduate.
Nice.
No kidding.
Yeah, first one with a real career ahead of him. First one we can be proud of.
What's that like?
So,
Well, that's great.
but with my youngest, and they start before Labor Day, which he's never done before.
Young people start school now before Labor Day.
Well, at least he is.
Okay.
I don't know if that's across the board, but
That's miserable.
I know, for him.
Yeah, right.
Or what I thought for him. And I like to remind him, and then I like to say, oh, hey, come look at Target. They're having some back to school. We should probably go get your Abacus or whatever kids are buying right now, for school. And I'm getting all these emails from the school. And it hasn't fazed him at all. The older kids would be miserable.
Maybe he's just got a good cover, a good poker face, whatever the term might be.
It could be. He could be messing with me right
He's miserable deep down.
Yeah,
knowing
he doesn't want to give you the satisfaction.
I don't know. He's kind of dumb. But maybe you might be onto something.
I was always excited to go back to school.
I was for the first few days.
Yeah, same here.
And then when you realize I'm going to be here a long time.
I guess that's a good point, yeah.
It's different. The first few days are kind of exciting. But after that, it was, oh, man, we got to do this every day.
I think it played out. Yeah, I think it played out the same for all of us. A couple weeks before school started, it was just, son of a bitch, it's coming to an end, Summer.
Don't you miss
sleeping
this?
all day, drinking all night? Yes.
Do you ever miss this? I have no idea what day it is. You just sometimes in the summer you have no clue. Is it a weekend? Is it a Tuesday?
Oh, when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I miss those days.
None of it really mattered. So yeah, like the last couple weeks, week and a half of summer vacation, it's pretty miserable. You're pissed off. I don't want to go back to friggin' school. I was such a terrible student. That played into it for me. But the night before the first day of school, you get excited. You get to see all the sophomore girls, right? You see where I'm going with that? Hey, there's a whole new group of sophomores coming into the school that don't know that I'm an idiot.
And back in our day, it was more difficult to communicate. So for some of those people, you have no idea what they've been doing all summer. And there might be a kid that grew 6 inches since you saw him last.
True.
Totally.
Yeah. Back in our day,
I mean, you call and you get a busy signal, and maybe that was the most effort you made the entire summer to get together with a person.
back in our day, there were some people you did not see at all for 3 months. And you walk into class and, where's Ernie? And then Ernie died over the summer. No kidding. Ernie's dead?
Oh.
I was hoping to see, that kind of, but you didn't see these people.
I called you, but there was a busy signal.
Yeah.
Hoosier Jesus said around there in Indiana, the kids started last week.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they get done early, though.
A friend of mine who keeps a family here in Minnesota and one in Florida.
Do they know about each other?
Not yet.
Uh-oh.
He went back to Florida here. Or what day is it today? Tuesday? Yes. I think I heard he's going back to Florida tomorrow to usher his child off to her first day of her senior year of high school. And what is it, August 8th, 9th?
8th. Is she pretty pumped? International cat.
I don't know. He doesn't talk about either of his families. So I don't know how she feels about being a senior in high school.
Do you remember when we went to Edge Fest and I brought a girl and you brought a girl? That girl that I brought, she found out about a year before you met her that she had her father had a whole separate family.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that story.
Remember? Yeah, her dad was a pilot, and so he was based out of Minneapolis. I think one of the two. I can't remember. One of the cities he was based. I thought it was Minneapolis.
He was keeping babes in all different cities.
Yeah, an entire different family, and they were close to the same age.
That's bizarre.
Siblings.
That's bizarar, and that's wrong.
It's hard to keep up with.
But
just
hilarious.
Like a year before, just like a year before I met her, she found this out. My sister. Well, this is creepy because I met my wife. Found out that she had a sister, same type of thing, a hidden sister when she was a teenager.
Your wife.
Her dad had a separate family.
Hoo-wee.
I guess I have a type. I just realized.
You're attracted to women
who are damaged by a cheating dad.
With traumatic family story backgrounds.
What the heck? Well, I'm really learning something about myself here.
Of course I remember that chick that you brought to Edge Fest because she looked like Jessica Simpson.
Yeah, she kind of did, actually.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And my lady that I brought, she looked more like Jessica Bessica.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Didn't she look just like Jessica
Now that you
Bessica?
say it, striking resemblance.
Yeah. Oh, that was a hell of a deal. Edge Fest. Oh, great. Now I'm in a bad mood.
Why?
Well, you brought up Edge Fest.
Oh.
I hated that friggin' crap.
Well, just be glad it's done.
It is. It's done. All right.
Medical device Jesus grew 9 inches one summer.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he's a tall dude. Also got a deeper voice. And he said his friends and teachers ignored him because they thought he was a new kid.
That can happen.
Yeah. There was my stepson again. He had a friend, real close friend, awesome kid. I love this kid. He was the smallest little guy for a few years, maybe 3rd to 6th grade, and he did the same thing. He actually grew 6-7 inches over one summer.
Man.
Now he's got to be like 6'6" or something.
I never had that growth spurt.
I never did either. I'm still waiting.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, where your parents or your friends will go, wow, damn, you've grown. No one ever said that to me. It must have been very gradual.
Yeah.
That I got up to this 5'9" or whatever I am. I have no idea.
It is kind of, it's not knowing what you know now. When you watch kids like youth sports or something and you see these real big kids and these real tiny kids, that can change over the summer.
Yeah.
Where the tall kid is no longer tall.
There was one dude we used to bust his chops about getting dumber every summer. We would chant that to him. Dumber every summer. Dumber.
Did he really, or were you just being mean?
Up! I don't know. We were 11, You got dumber. You get dumber every... What time is it?
Wapple, I feel like we barely heard from you. Good morning.
What's the problem over there?
Morning.
No, it's all good.
All right.
That's all good, he says.
I guess for me, the first day never really mattered because you just kind of chilled and you got your syllabus. And that's kind of all you did.
Yeah, that's true.
You got your syllabus.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that is. What's a syllabus?
Like an outline.
An outline of what's going to happen throughout the year. And then you kind of bum yourself out because you see all these projects that are going to be due like each quarter, and you're like, balls.
They never handed us that. I remember getting my schedule of where to go, like hour 1, room 112. I don't know about the syllabus.
Kids today don't use lockers. I loved having a locker. That was like a meeting spot in between classes. You go to your lockers, everybody'd hang out.
One of my buddies set ours on fire. And we almost got expelled, and the police and the fire chief were there. That was fun.
I didn't use a locker all of high school. I had no idea where mine even was.
Oh, you were so cool.
I think part of the reason was we just didn't have enough time in between classes to go to our locker.
I didn't use mine either. We just collectively all gathered until, 3 of us were in one locker. You see where I'm
exact same here.
Three buddies.
It'd be miserable.
You didn't have time to go to your locker?
Yeah.
Passing time was the best.
Why didn't you have time?
Just in between classes.
There were just, maybe we had a little more time in between.
Yeah, they were just short. We also had like a separate
5
building
minutes.
that we had to walk to too sometimes.
Yeah, we had like 7 minutes, and we just got to chill and hang out with our
7
friends.
7 minutes?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Jesus, school was over before you knew it.
Our classes got so weird because in the beginning, we had like 3 classes, and they were maybe an hour long, 55 minutes.
Sure.
And then we had 2 more classes after lunch, and then those were an hour and a half. So the first part of your day just flew by, but then you have an hour and a half for 2 classes and just so slow.
You never skipped any of those hour and a halfers?
No, because towards the senior year, once you got smarter and you could take electives, you would take your electives for those hour and a half classes.
I didn't have that problem.
My senior year was a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I took like sight singing where you just look at a note and you had to try and sing the note. I mean, I had like 2 study hours. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I had 2 study hours, advanced foods class.
I did it all wrong.
Oh, you did all the slacking at the beginning.
I didn't understand, Josh.
Well,
and there was no one there to explain it to me.
That your sister never did? Because my cousin, we grew up like brothers. He's older, and so he warned me. He's like, you're going to be very tempted to do this. Save it for your senior year.
No one said a word to me. Our parents offered very little leadership. Guidance probably is the better word. No, my sister she had moved out the house. She was dating North Stars and whatnot at that point. No, this comes up every once in a while, and I still kick myself. So you do 10th grade. Whatever happened there? Can't remember 10th grade. But I was a terrible student. And then comes 11th grade. And somebody tells me, look at all these classes. Drawing, painting, seeing yourself in others where you sit in a circle and talk about high school problems that don't really exist. All these F-off stupid things, right? These stupid classes. Weight training, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I, being dumb as a box of rocks, I thought, junior and senior year is going to be a cakewalk. I didn't know that after putting in a little bit of effort in 10th grade, that 11th and 12th were going to be all these electives, as you guys called it. So I signed up for every friggin' one of them. My 11th grade year was the cakewalk, because I signed up for all these friggin' ass classes that mean nothing. Senior year comes around, and I go, why can't I take painting? Why can't I take pillow art? Why can't I take... And everyone said, well, you took all those stupid classes already. You can't take them twice. And so my senior year was miserable, and my buddies were like you guys were describing, just garbage classes. Now, of course, I just didn't go to a lot of those classes. I had to take night school. I really technically shouldn't have graduated high school. But yes, I never had anyone tell me. And I needed to be told, sadly, at 17 years old. I needed to be told what was what.
I spent the majority of my senior year at the Hardee's across the street.
Nice.
So we didn't have off-campus until my senior year.
We never got it.
Yeah, us either.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, did you, Nick?
We could leave anytime we wanted to.
Even like freshman year?
Yeah.
Well,
we didn't have a freshman year, 10 to 12.
Oh, yeah, years went, because you had a middle school 7 to 9
7
or
to
6
9.
to 9?
Oh, yeah, we could leave anytime we friggin' wanted.
Yeah, it was our senior year.
We even had a cigarette smoking pit.
My wife had one of those.
Yeah.
And they had a nursery.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's Donnie? Donnie's in the pit. That's what they called the cigarettes. You crack open the door, it just smelled like diarrhea and cigarette. We had a cigarette smoke. But yeah, I effed up and skipped a lot of classes and.
So did they threaten to hold you back? I mean, I know they said you might not be able to graduate, but they say, hey, you're going to have to take your senior year over.
In 9th grade, they threatened to hold me back. And I did not do what they asked me to in order to avoid that, but they still passed me along.
God, I always feel bad for those kids that got held back. That was tough to come back from.
I knew one kid, he got held back in 3rd grade. He ended up being in our class. He was in 4th grade. Wait, how does that work? He was in 3rd grade, and all of a sudden he was in 3rd grade again. That's how that worked.
Mm-hmm. In 9th grade, they pulled me and my buddy Tim aside and said, you guys will not be moving on to high school. And we said, oh, that sucks.
Bummer.
Unless you do this and this. And neither of us complied. And still, that summer when I walked into high school, they had a spot for me. after the, and then, the story about my senior year where I was lacking credits to where I needed my last quarter, semester, whatever it was. I had to take, there were 6 hours in our day. I had to take 7 hours worth of classes and night school in order to graduate. Not night school. What do they call it? Yeah, night school. Yeah. I had to take all of that.
What time did you guys start?
I think it was 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, ours was 7:40.
Same.
And now, what is it, like 9:45 or something?
It with the bus driver shortage, there's varying, at least in our district, like they vary it up. So some are earlier than they normally would be and some later, just to try and make sure the buses are available.
Yeah, I was a terrible, awful, careless, lazy, terrible student. And I wish I would have done it differently, but I guess it played out all right.
Check out this second semester senior year from runner-up Jesus. Mm-hmm. This is what he had to deal with.
It's going to piss me off. This is going to make me mad at myself.
I don't know. How does this happen to a guy? This is not fair. He had to go weight training, and then choir, and then aviation, and then outdoor team sports.
That sounds like so much fun.
That's a good
Miserable.
setup.
Straight A's, he said. Straight A's.
God, yeah,
How do you do it?
I effed up.
I took a fitness walking class, but that was in college.
So did I, and it was actually like exhausting.
I gotta
all
say,
the stuff I had to do.
I loved it.
Really?
Oh, it's just me and all the gals.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only guy, and I guess I got a cake at the end of it.
What?
Because they were taking bets on how long I would last, but I stuck that sucker out.
You were the only guy.
I was the only guy.
Yeah, I had that situation in a cooking class, but
Yeah.
like I explained, I desperately needed the credit and I had to behave myself. Let me ask you this question. Could I sign up now for a fitness walking class?
Yeah. They, Normandale.
Can I be the only guy?
You can. It was a tad embarrassing.
Well, so was that cooking class experience, I should say.
I was just praying to be
loved it.
one other dude so I wouldn't feel creepy. But me and the gals, we had a blast.
I behaved myself. I had to.
We were a bunch of yentas, I'll tell you what, gossiping and fitness walking.
The teacher told me when I walked in, she said, I've heard nothing but terrible things about you. I mean, she pulled me aside and said, I know you need this credit to graduate. So if you F off even once, you'll be gone. And it woke me up. And I mean, I had an apron around my waist and I was covered in baby powder. What's that stuff? Flour. I was covered in I was doing that. Yay, muffins. I mean, I behaved perfectly because I knew it was my ass if I did.
Also in college, I took a automotive electronics class, like how to rebuild an alternator. And I was like...
You are a pimp.
Well, because I wanted to learn everything I could about cars, but specifically the electrical system, because I wanted to install booming systems in cars. That's really what I wanted to do. So much so that I used to hang out at Audio King and just... I was like a laborer for free. I just loved it. I wanted to do that. We put some stuff in like some Minnesota Vikings cars, and I thought it was awesome.
That's the pro football team in town.
Yeah, I know.
And you put stuff in their cars?
We did, and it was an honor. And so in this class, I was the only one in there that had no testosterone for the most part. And I'll tell you, they took me under their wing. Some of these grizzled old mechanics that were going back for certain certifications and stuff. And I was like the little kid sister for the most part. Aww. And they treated me so well.
That's awesome.
I remember
Man.
nothing from the class.
Oh.
But
where's Cubby?
That was
hanging
fun.
out at Audio King.
I'm getting
hanging out at Audio King.
I know. I'm getting pats on the head from some of my classmates.
You had a cute upbringing.
I had hair back
Absolutely.
then.
Yeah, you did. You had lots of hair. Yeah, we
miss
got to
those
get
days.
moving here. It's a friggin', what is it, Tuesday, did I say?
It is.
Dick Bremer and Jungle Jane going to be here later. We'll take a break, take a breather. Be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Hey Minnesota, CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep. Going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Stupid news, huh? All right. To throw away these other things I planned on bringing up, I guess.
Nah, you got to do the stupid news now.
For real? All right. Remind me later, I want to talk about vaccinations.
Okay. Well, you just threw it away.
Yeah. Oh, I'll look it up again.
Oh, good.
Do your own research again.
That'll get people tuning in. What the F did he say?
There's so many people, yeah.
I want to talk about vaccinations later, and I'm going to tell you the real truth about what goes on in politics. All right, that's going to be later on. No, but the stupid news, here's a situation. We're going to start with a situation where, damn, I wish I would have been there to see this in person. You're going to wish you were there, too. A dog jumped behind the wheel of a golf cart. So far, so good, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is amazing.
And then the dog ran over a 4-year-old kid.
Revenge.
Seems like something a cat would do, doesn't it?
It does. But I do like to think that kid was like kind of poking and being annoying to the dog, and the dog, like Ashley said, was just like, "I've had enough. I'm getting the golf cart and running this kid over."
I don't have any evidence or any whatever the term might be. I can't prove that.
The cat would be on purpose.
Yeah.
Based on what I hear.
Dog jumps on a golf cart.
I bet that's a thrill for a dog. To drive a golf cart?
And then just ran a 4-year-old kid smooth over. Just pump.
Backing up. Bump one more time.
The little kid is fine, so don't panic. Nobody panic. But doesn't that sound like the kind of story you'd like to be able to tell firsthand? Mm-hmm. You're at a bar someday and somebody, some drunk, you know how drunks operate. A drunk might say, "Do you guys think a dog is smart enough to drive a golf cart?" And you could say, "Well, hell yeah, it is. I saw one run over a child." The whole bar would gather around. They'd wait for you to tell the whole story, wouldn't they, Josh?
Or when she's old enough to tell it.
Oh, she could tell that.
Yeah,
The little girl. It was a little girl that got run over. Apparently, we got to go all the way to Michigan to see this kind of thing. Last weekend, there was a street dance going on, summers over there in Michigan, like the one I went to in Maple Lake 30 years ago, where I found out personally that it takes the whole town of Maple Lake to beat up one dude from Wayzata. Anyway, the street dance there in Michigan, a town called Westland, Michigan, had its fire department vehicles parked at the party. You know how they do, so the kids can climb all over the fire trucks and ask stupid questions to the firemen. And the fire department has a Labrador retriever there by the name of Bella. She was at the party, and she jumped onto somebody's golf cart. And Bella was tired. She laid down on the gas pedal. And next thing you know, she just rolled smooth over a 4-year-old kid.
I'd imagine at first that was horrifying.
The kid was fine. Her mother, the child's mother said, you don't need to rush everyone over here with the paramedics. The little girl was, quote, back to eating her popcorn and jumping in the fire department bounce house within minutes. She was fine.
That's good.
And so was Bella, the Labrador retriever. And everyone went back to beer drinking. And
Labs are such sweet dogs. I bet Bella felt terrible about that.
She couldn't even see.
She's blind?
That's
No,
terrible.
if she was laying down on the pedal,
Oh.
she can't even see. It's not her fault.
Blind Bella, the fire department dog.
Well, she shouldn't be driving, Ashley.
I know, it's true.
She's blind.
Everyone went
No
back to
license.
drinking beer. And what else do you do at the street dance?
Maybe have some chili or something. Or...
Shout conversations at each other over the sound of a horrible cover band.
Yeah,
probably. Man.
Those are fun. We've been to a few of those together.
The street dance?
Yeah.
Sure. We have been to a few.
Fire department was there too.
The fire department was... Did we climb on the trucks and ask stupid questions?
We sure did. Actually, that's how we got invited to one of them. If you may remember, a coworker of ours, she was a volunteer firefighter.
That's right.
So she invited us out to that street dance.
I think we differ on where we were.
I don't think so.
I remember that we were in the Howard Lake Waverly area.
Well, we've been to a couple. The one I'm specifically talking about is Watertown.
Yeah, see, that's where we differ.
We've been to both. But the fire department lady was a Watertown volunteer firefighter.
See, I still say it was Howard Lake Waverly. I don't know. A lot of years and a lot of beers. have gone by. Down in Tampa, Florida now, a 74-year-old garbage human being has been arrested for manslaughter. And it seems to me the local cops identified this guy from a picture of him online. Maybe you've seen this section in the papers here in town. It's the section of the paper that announces what local dorks have recently made a hole-in-one in golf.
Yeah.
As if anyone cares. And, you know, so they put that in the paper, and then eventually it ends up on the internet kind of a thing. This puke goes by the name of Robert Moore Jr. Back in June, this tough guy punched an 87-year-old man in the face repeatedly, and the old man eventually upped and died. This Moore guy, like I said, he ain't no kid either. He's 74. The repeated punching of a near 90-year-old man incident happened at a place called Glenview Country Club. There was a friggin' fender bender in the parking lot between the two dudes, and Moore, the younger of the two, had a flippin' meltdown and started punching the older fella, and like I said, days later the old man eventually dropped dead from the shots he had taken to the noggin from this vomit bag, Robert Moore Jr.
Sad.
That is, it's brutal. And here's where they get you now. If you want to be a violent animal, you should know this. Maybe this will stop you from hurting somebody someday. Cops reviewed the video surveillance footage from the country club's restaurant. Has anyone here seen a program? I don't have a lot of channels anymore on my cable setup. I dummied down my selections to save a little money. So I don't have a lot of channels anymore. But I found a show called Surveillance Video Meltdown. What the hell is it called?
I've seen shows similar to it. I don't know if
it's
talking
called
the same one.
Surveillance Video Gangbang. God dang it. I can't think of it, but it's crimes that were solved via surveillance cameras. Maybe someone can text me 651-989-9393 and tell me the name of the show. But it's entertaining as hell, and it's interesting watching the cops, you know, some terrible murder happens on the sidewalk, and they get the surveillance video from the Home Depot that's 2 blocks away, but it shows them the leg of someone walking, and then they get the surveillance video from the Casey's gas station, and it gets a shot of and they find a receipt, so they check the footage at Walmart. What the hell is the name of that show?
See No Evil?
That's it, Wapple. You are friggin' clutch.
Well, thanks, IMDb.
You are a DB.
What does
You're
it
right.
mean, you're DB?
You are a DB.
I just looked it up online.
IMDb, the website.
Yeah.
I really thought you were making a statement about yourself. IMDb. See No Evil. Check it out. So the cops spotted this ass clown at the country club restaurant surveillance video from the night of the great grandpa punching. That video and some other investigating helped the cops figure out who this guy was. And when they Googled his name, they found some dopey write-up about how he scored a hole-in-one. How do you say it?
Hole-in-one.
They matched up his picture from that article and the surveillance footage, and they had their guy. Are you able to follow that?
Yeah.
That's great. He's now under arrest for aggravated manslaughter of an elderly person. Ooh, I bet they give you preferential treatment in prison when that's your charge, right? You beat up a near 90-year-old and you want us to be nice to you here in prison? That ain't going to happen.
You think you're a tough guy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you already mention this? So he's pissed that his car gets hit, right? And he learns later it wasn't even his car.
Oh my God. See, I didn't follow that part.
So he's yelling at this old. He's an old guy himself. He's 74, right?
Right.
And so he's like, "Hey, man, you hit my car." And then he punches him, and then sadly the poor dude dies. And he realizes, "Oh hell, that's not my car," and he took off.
Oh, so he wasn't in his car when they collided. He watched the 90-year-old ding somebody's car while standing in the parking lot.
And he goes off on this guy, and then realizes, oh man, that's not even mine.
Oh, for the love of Christ. I appreciate you mentioning that, because when I read the story, I didn't understand what they were trying to say there. Okay. Wow. Now you're going to jail
What an a-hole, and a dumb one at that.
Maybe you had to be there, but me and Big Al had an interesting experience in a parking ramp once where we were following somebody. You know, we were in one car, someone else is in front of us, whipping round and around the parking ramp trying to find a place to park. And this car in front of us, boom, bangs into a van that was already parked. One of these long-ass vans you see a work crew in, kind of a thing, right? Boom, he knocks into the van. And then the guy gets out of his car. He's going to chew out the van driver. And he goes around to the driver's side and goes, "What are you doing pulling out of the..." Oh, there was no one in the van. For whatever reason, Al and I could tell the man hit a stationary vehicle. For whatever reason, the guy thought that the van was pulling out. No, dummy, it's just an extra long van. Like I said, maybe you had to... And Al and I said, "There's nobody in the damn thing." Here's another dude now who got pinched because of a random picture, I guess you could say. One of Italy's most dangerous fugitives has been caught in Greece after a picture of him cheering on his favorite soccer team gave away his whereabouts. His name is Vincenzo Laporta. He's 60 effing years old now. He's been on the run for 11 years.
That sounds exhausting.
Well, don't take that so literally.
He wasn't constantly
You know what I mean?
running.
Yeah,
Well,
he took some breaks in between.
Yeah, he had to sleep a little bit.
I think that's actually impossible to run straight for 11 years.
If this means anything to you, Vincenzo is thought to have close ties to the Camorra organized crime gang in Italy. I don't know if any of you follow that.
Quite the hazing process, I'd imagine they have.
Oh, my gosh. Like I said, he's been on the run for 11 stinking years, but a few months ago, he was recognized in a photo of fans celebrating in Greece when some soccer club won a championship of some sort. So here he is running around like a clown, hollering and screaming with the rest of the soccer fans. And those kind of pictures end up in the papers, right? And on the godless internet. The cops see it, and now they know where you're at. The cops said what betrayed him was his passion for soccer.
Betrayed by the thing you love.
That's right. You know what kills most passionate soccer fans?
Other soccer fans?
All right, in second place,
Yeah,
you know what it is?
You got a good point.
Second place? Boredom. They sit through one too many scoreless halves and their body just shuts down. Police finally arrested this guy last Friday when he was riding his moped around town. Nice. He's in jail now. He's waiting to be extradited, I think is the word, to Italy. Sounds like he's looking at 14 years in the Stony Lonesome. His lawyer wants to gain some sympathy here. His lawyer went ahead and said he has started a new family in Greece. He has a 9-year-old boy and is working as a cook to get by. He suffers from heart ailments. If he's extradited, he and his family will be ruined.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, that blows, but, you know, the guy made his own damn bed, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sounds that way.
Sorry, I sold drugs, but I have a family. Can I get out of this, please?
What if you could get out of that for everything? Actually,
I got a family.
you'd get pregnant in a minute or two, wouldn't you? You can get away with anything.
They were looking for his ass for over a decade. Josh, I bet those cops are having a hell of a keg party.
Yeah, I bet that's fun, too, the way he got busted. The cell phoning, one of my favorite types of stories.
Do you think you just torture him in prison with constant soccer games? Or would he'd love that too much?
He's a huge fan.
Sounds like he would enjoy that.
So then give him football games. Take that.
A lot of folks are talking about an airplane captain with American Airlines and the pre-flight speech he dumped on the passengers of a recent flight where he went on and on about the rules of behavior on his airplane.
Remember, the flight attendants are primarily here for your safety. After that, they're here to make your flight more enjoyable. They're going to take care of you guys, but you will listen to what they have to say because they represent my will in the cockpit or in the cabin, and my will is what matters. Be nice to each other. Be respectful of each other. I shouldn't have to say that. People should treat people the way you want to be treated, but I have to say it every single flight because people don't, and they're selfish and rude, and we won't have it, okay? Stow your stuff. Get it out everybody else's way. Put your junk where it belongs. Everybody paid for a space. Don't lean on other people. Don't fall asleep on other people. Don't pass out on other people or drool on them unless you've talked about it, and they have a weather-resistant jacket. All right, a little bit of fatherhood here, the other thing. The social experiment on listening to videos on speaker mode and talking on a cell phone on speaker mode, that is over. Over and done in this country. Nobody wants to hear your video. I know you think it's super sweet, it probably is, but it's your business, right? So keep it to yourself. Use your AirPods, use your headphones, whatever it is. That's your business, okay? It's just part of being in a respectful society. Middle seaters, I know it stinks to be in the middle. Raise your hands. Raise them up. Anybody in the middle? Like 5 people. Yeah, right. The jet's full. All right, nobody's listening. Fine. You own both armrests. That is my gift to you. Welcome on board our flight.
I hope he got a standing ovation.
I like that.
Yeah,
he sounds a little fed up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just a little.
Yeah, couldn't hide that.
This guy just let her buck. He has had enough.
That is my gift to you.
Folks on the plane seemed like they didn't really understand what was going on with this dude, but some really like how it came off. We all like how it came off. Folks remarked like this. He's not wrong for him to say this. He's fed up with all these childish adults.
It's kind of sad he has to.
They said that he's bringing this I will turn this whole plane around energy.
Definitely.
And someone said the speech reminded them of a TED Talk. What new lingo is that? Anybody know what that means?
Well, it's not new lingo. I mean, people give talks on various topics, right? You know, inspirational talks for the most part.
Okay.
It was really big for a while.
Was,
you don't
yeah.
really hear people talk about it too much anymore.
No.
Good for this guy. You know, get your stuff out of everybody's way. Don't be leaning on anybody. Don't be this, that.
It's kind of funny, you know, listening to people in the background going, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not ready for it, it could be a little, you take it back a little bit.
Especially because I feel like you usually tune out what they're saying on that thing because you've heard the speech a million times, you know? Then you're like, oh, wait, this guy's actually saying something here. I like this.
He says, in reference to the flight attendants, you will listen to what they have to say because they represent my will in the cockpit or in the cabin, and my will is what matters. There you go.
Does sound like something maybe your dad would say at the beginning of a road trip.
Oh.
All right, here's how it's going to go.
Josh, you and I didn't meet until we were in our early 20s. We didn't know each other when we were little kids, although I always knew you were out there somewhere.
How'd you know?
Tell me if I'm wrong. This here next story sounds like something you might have at least considered when you were just a little pot licker. An 8-year-old kid in, Bolivia. He allowed himself to be bitten by a damn dangerous black widow spider because he thought it might turn him into Spider-Man.
Yeah, I could see maybe thinking that. But I wouldn't get anywhere near a spider.
I know you don't like spiders. That's why I worded it. I think maybe when you were a kid you would have just considered it because you do have a fear of spiders.
I did. The closest I could think of to this is I was 17, waited in line forever to meet one of my guitar heroes, Joe Satriani, legendary guitar god, and he shook my hand, and I wondered if there was any way that some of his skill could transfer through that handshake.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Sure.
Not even close. But I did wonder if there's some magical world like, you know, in the movies where something like that happens.
Yeah, like a transfer of power.
Yeah.
This kid ended up laid out in the hospital from this. He's a big Spider-Man fan. And hell, he thought he'd take a crack at being a superhero. They say he was playing near a river close to his house when he turned over a big rock and discovered a black widow spider. He put it on the back of his hand in the hopes of being bitten. And the spider laid into him. And then he strolled home. The symptoms of being bit by one of these bastards is pretty bad, from what I understand. But the kid didn't say jack squat to his folks. He thought he was in transition to becoming another Spider-Man. But after about 3 hours of pain, he upped and told his mom that he had been bitten by a spider. So off to the hospital they went. Doctors loaded him up with the anti-venom, and he was feeling much better within a half hour. The boy's mom more or less said she knew that he was mental for Spider-Man, but she never thought he would pull off something like this.
I know that due to restraining orders, you guys aren't around as kids as much as I am.
Right. Yep.
But I'm wondering if you've noticed this about kids. There's certain superheroes, really, and Spider-Man being number one, where it seems like if a kid is into Spider-Man, they are really into Spider-Man.
Dude,
Batman
true.
would be a close second. More so than any, superheroes are bigger than ever now, right? And it seems like Spider-Man ones are really into it. Like they want to wear the Spider-Man outfit all the time.
Is that right?
And then Batman a close second.
Huh. And then I would say Iron Man.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen as
Iron
much
Man
of that.
too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Iron Men. I see they'll wear the mask, the Halloween mask
Yep.
at all times, not just during October.
Are any of the
What about
kids...
Fart Man? Anybody have Howard
Yeah.
Stern's Fart Man?
No.
When it comes to heroes, are any of these kids trying to take after Orgasmo?
Too young for that. Thus, the restraining order.
Oh! Yeah, this kid, he's going to do all right now. Most folks who get tuned up by a black widow spider, it says here, come out of it all right. But they've killed a few people dead, mostly old folks and young kids. Something similar to this goofy situation happened back in the wonderful year of 20+20. 3 kids pissed off a black widow spider for the exact same reason. Every last one of them wanted to turn into a real-life spider nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not around kids much, so I couldn't get involved in that. Which superhero they most passionate about. I don't even remember being wild about any of them when I was a kid. I mean,
I liked Superman. But yeah, when we were little, there wasn't a ton.
I watched the shows. I watched the Superman movie.
But I mean, by a ton, I mean, of course, the comics were out, but there wasn't a ton of shows on it, really.
Right.
You had the Adam West Batman.
Sure, which I thought was very funny.
Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I loved those.
Sadly, for me, maybe sadly isn't the word, but no question, I thought Christopher Reeve was pretty cool as Superman. But I fell in love with Margot Kidder, so I kept my eye on her.
I can understand, yeah.
I remember having a Captain America shirt when I was a kid. But
that's a good one. Yeah, I loved Captain America.
I think maybe for you and I, Josh, we were more enthralled by the Sesame Street characters than we were superheroes. At least, I think, speaking for myself, I was way more into Grover and Oscar the Grouch and whatnot than I was Batman and Superman.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I never had comics. Did you ever?
No, never got into comics.
So yeah, I wasn't really exposed to that.
All right, real quick, we got to get out of here. I don't even this friggin' nonsense. The Loch Ness Center in Scotland is calling for everybody to come to town again and search for this stupid thing that doesn't exist.
I wonder if it's just an excuse to get real drunk on scotch.
It probably is.
Well, it's just an excuse for tourists to come to town and they go, I need a place to stay while I'm looking for this monster that doesn't exist. And they say, we got a room over here. Oh, yeah, how much is it? $3,000. Well, I guess I got to take it. I'm here to find the monster. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're going to need something to eat. Restaurants, I need a plate of spaghetti. That'll be $156. It's a way to make money. They're calling folks to come to town again for the Loch Ness Monster. They're readying the largest search for the Loch Ness Monster since the 1970s. They're talking about using drones and high-tech thermal imaging, this and that. Knock yourself smooth out with this. These dumbbells who come into town with scuba gear and fishing rods or whatever.
Does seem kind of fun, but
there's nothing there, Josh.
No, I know. It seems kind of fun, but I'd imagine, right, knowing that they're not going to find anything takes a little of the magic out of it.
It does.
It's one of the world's oldest scams. And there are still folks who deck themselves out like they're going on a safari to try and catch Sasquatch.
I love picturing just an old dude in a rowboat, and then he catches the Loch Ness Monster on a line.
What does he use for bait?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Probably a German Shepherd or something. I don't know.
He just throws some corn on there. Nothing crazy.
You can catch a sunny or two.
He uses hot dogs like he's going for carp.
You'll never guess.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Like a big hole there.
But that's not coming back to the park. A grand salami! Get out the cheese, the ham, the bread, and whatever sauce you like. That is a grand salami, grand slam. Leland Henry Jr. That will put Team USA up 10-2.
He says, step aside, Brad Ryder. Got a play-by-play guy, even cheesier than you.
A grand salami!
That just sounds like a parody.
Look, just because you're calling a game of 12-year-old kids doesn't mean 12-year-old kids are watching.
I'm sure he's thinking, I'm going to make YouTube.
That was that. Jesus, can you imagine this? The under-12 World Baseball Tournament?
Oh, man.
Oh, doesn't that sound
thrilling.
miserable? That sound awful?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as an adult, as an adult, that sounds awful.
Because the kids are having a blast.
Kids are having a great time.
Brad would love it.
It was a heck of a home run.
Oh, Brad probably was there.
Yeah, he's going to be asked by other parents to leave the field at some point.
He's got a trench coat on and a fake mustache.
Your kids graduated college, Brad.
Yeah. The under-12 World Baseball Tournament, and some 12-year-old kid, or under 12, I guess.
He's 12.
12 and under kind of a thing? Mm-hmm. What is he, 5'11" and 270 pounds? Or something like that?
Like it.
Yeah, he's 5'10", 230.
Blasted a grand slam, and then you heard the cheese nuts there with his call.
He's got a 70-mile-per-hour fastball, this kid.
I ain't scared of any 12-year-old kid with a 70-mile-per-hour fastball, I'll tell you that right now. Bring it. The Twins had very little trouble in Michigan last night, and usually doing anything in Michigan means problems. They put the Tigers away early, ended up with a 9-3 victory to start their 4-game series. Hell, they were up by a touchdown and an extra point after 2 innings. Last night makes for 5 wins in a row. That's the longest winning streak of the season so far for the Twins. We can get into so many other things, including a conversation on the Twins with Dick Bremer. Jungle Jane's going to step into the scene with Randy Shaver. That's all coming up in about a half hour. Stay tuned for Josh's news report.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Hey Minnesota, CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep. Going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
I've seen kids driving them bikes wild, popping wheelies, running red lights.
They be all over the street, on the sidewalk,
blocking up roads and not letting people through.
A dirt bike rider is wanted in Pennsylvania after authorities say the suspect targeted a 64-year-old man and ran him over.
Oh my God!
Twice!
We've identified this as a problem throughout the township, but obviously what we saw this past weekend is another level of criminality, so we really need the public to help us identify him.
What the hell? You just ran an old man over on your mini bike, you kept going.
2 times. The victim was walking Saturday around 7:50 p.m. when the rider on the dirt bike intentionally hit him, police said. The 64-year-old was knocked to the ground. The dirt bike rode over him a second time. First responders rushed the victim to a hospital in serious but stable condition. Police released a photo of the suspect appearing to ride away from the scene with a second male also riding a dirt bike. Well, he is a dirt bike with the suspect.
Well, F me running.
That's a real jerk right there.
Terrible thing.
A married couple is suing Uber, alleging a driver for the ride-hail company stabbed them after one of the plaintiffs barfed in her car last year.
Oh, no.
According to the complaint, the couple were being driven home September 25th after a night out with friends when the wife became nauseous during the road trip and upchucked in the Uber.
That's the worst.
The couple apologized. They offered to pay the driver to clean the vehicle.
No, I'll just stab you.
But the driver instead became extremely aggressive and refused to take the pair home. They begged the driver to drive them the rest of the way and assured the driver that they would be adequately compensated for her troubles.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sway the enraged driver, as rather than de-escalate the situation, she brandished a knife and stabbed her passengers multiple times. Now she's got blood and puke in her car. The lawsuit is seeking unspecified damages.
Wow, that's awful. I mean, I can totally understand how infuriating it must be when some rookie splashes in your friggin' cab. You know what I'm talking about? Some rookie pukes in your cab.
Yeah, it's going to take you out for at least the night, right?
Yeah.
You're done driving people.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought they had like a built-in charge for that.
I did too.
There is. There's some type of
A puke
charge.
penalty of some sort. Police are looking to identify a person accused of shooting a car simply because they honked at him as he crossed a Florida street.
You look what's going on right now in this world. It's getting very violent. We're a nice small town here. We don't have too many incidents of gun violence. To see this, it's alarming. We're immediately on top of it.
The man was reportedly one of several people crossing the street Wednesday when the victim honked their horn at the group. That didn't sit well with the suspect, who allegedly brandished a gun and fired a single shot into the vehicle's trunk because he didn't like being honked at.
I heard like a loud pop. I thought maybe it was somebody had a flat tire.
I'm surprised. Don't see that kind of thing very often in this neighborhood.
Police are confident they're about to get their man.
We're closing in on the suspect now. If he's smart, he turned himself in, because we're going to probably arrest him here in a few days. Turn yourself in and cooperate, because you're not going to get away.
The shooting was captured on 2 dash cams to the front and rear of the victim's vehicle.
There is something so wrong with a lot of us.
I can't imagine getting that mad if I was honked at.
No.
I might feel like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was in your way or something, but not this gentleman.
Continue going on with my day.
A Texas road rage incident turned ugly when an altercation broke out, and the weapon of choice was spray paint. Harrison County Constable Mark Herman's office said in a Facebook post the deputies responded to a road rage incident in Houston Friday. When they arrived, they learned from the complainant that the driver in front of him couldn't stay in his lane while looking at his phone. The two vehicles pulled up to a traffic light, and when the light turned green, the driver, who was allegedly distracted by his phone, didn't move. The person who filed the complaint told police he gave a quick little beep of his horn when the driver sat there. As the vehicle started moving, the accused distracted driver, Davis Winston, allegedly threw objects at the victim's vehicle. Eventually, the two vehicles came to a stop and an altercation broke out. The victim told police Winston had a can of white spray paint, which was used to paint the victim's vehicle and face. At one point, the victim got a hold of the spray paint and painted Winston's face, too, leading both men to look like angry mimes. The photo's hilarious.
Jesus criminy.
You can see this at 90rex.com. It's so friggin' funny.
It's so great.
I gotta say, I never want to get into a driving altercation, but I hope it ends up like this for me. I mean, that is so funny.
It's just white.
Winston was also accused of breaking the back window of the victim's vehicle. Got a bit of a temper there, but that's good.
I'm looking for these pictures right now, Cubby.
Yeah, you got. What did you title it, Ashley? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
The title really sucks, Ashley. No offense.
Oh, it does?
What is it?
The title is David Winston Arrested.
Oh, yeah, you got to change that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows David Winston.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he was a known guy.
I'm sorry, but it's not David, it's Davis, right?
Yeah, it's Davis.
All right, I'm getting there. Yeah, you got to put, world-class spray paint fight on the side of the road 2023 in there or something.
2023.
If we have enough characters. Yeah, it's good.
This website is slower than the second coming of Christ.
A Florida man was arrested for allegedly stealing a lawnmower from a woman's lawn. Deputies responded to a home last Monday after a woman called reporting the theft of her lawnmower. The woman said while she wasn't home at the time of the theft, she did see the whole thing unfold on her home surveillance cameras. When deputies arrived, they saw a man who matched the woman's description. Apparently, he was on the lawnmower riding away from the house on the red Craftsman T2000. When deputies caught up to Gary Beebe, he said he was picking up the machine from his sister's house. However, the homeowner told deputies she recently purchased the property, adding that everything on the property, including the lawnmower, was hers. Beebe's sister confirmed this, saying that the lawnmower belonged to the new owner and Beebe didn't have permission to go and take it.
That's frustrating.
See the photo?
Josh, these two fellas who had their faces spray painted in a roadside fight, these are maybe the most pathetic pictures I've ever seen in my life.
They are.
Two grown men ended up looking like this on the side of the road.
I bet that's humbling.
But you got to see it. It's wonderful.
That takes a while to get off, too.
An Indiana man was reportedly on a 4-day meth high when he set fire to his car in order to scare a tiny man he believed was in the vehicle. Police were called to the home shortly before 6 a.m. last Tuesday on a report of a vehicle fire. When 32-year-old Shay Erlinson was found inside a nearby residence, he reportedly blurted out to officers, "I didn't mean to catch the barn on fire. I was trying to get the tiny man out of my car by scaring him with fire." Family members said Erlinson had been acting crazy the past 2 days, claiming there were people in his car and the backyard as well. Deputies were told by family members Erlinson was on a 4-day meth high at the time of the arrest.
That doubles my record.
He reportedly hadn't slept either during that time frame.
Oh, you don't sleep on meth, Cubby.
While being transferred from the hospital to jail, he's accused of attempting to take a deputy's patrol rifle from the vehicle's rifle rack. That got him into more trouble.
Yeah, that's a good way to get killed.
The owner of the bar told deputies it was estimated to be worth about $70,000, and he had just purchased the property only 2 weeks prior.
Oh, man.
An Oregon sheriff is warning people not to die for fake $100 bills. Apparently, some curious hikers are risking their lives over them by going to dangerous areas off trail for the phony money. The fake $100 bills were found Friday about 30 feet over the edge of some local falls after deputies received reports of hikers attempting to retrieve what they thought was real cash. Because it was causing quite a stir and fearing someone might make a fatal mistake, the Forest Service posted signs and staffed a ranger at the upper viewing platform, the agency said. On Saturday, Portland mountain rescue climbers rappelled from the crest to the falls and collected the remaining bills. The sheriff's office said that while authorities don't know if the movie prop money is related, they are aware of a potentially dangerous social media trend where influencers stash money or other items somewhere outdoors and leave their followers clues to recover the troves.
Jesus.
Some yahoo tossed a bunch of fake money off the falls yesterday.
A friggin' yahoo.
And then posted it on social media. Portland Mountain Rescue said in a Facebook post. The agency shared photos showing that the bills all bore the marking for motion picture purposes. A lot of people fell for it.
And some of them fell.
They did.
Yeah, for it.
A man in southwest Florida has been charged with flooding a hospital's emergency room after attacking a nurse and stripping off his clothes. The 53-year-old became agitated because he had to wait in a waiting room Saturday. So he barged into the emergency room, pushed a patient, and then struck a nurse in the head. After hospital staff got him into a room in an effort to keep him from disturbing other patients, he took off his clothes and pulled a high-pressure water pipe from the wall. The hospital's emergency rooms flooded, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damages.
Got naked and then pulled a pipe off the wall. I love that. Just, insanity can be entertaining, can't it, Josh?
Yeah, they're experiencing some hot weather. Maybe just needed to cool down.
Sure.
A Georgia man who broke into a church had an unusual encounter in a baptismal. Derek Porter used a cinder block to smash a window at Emerald Beach Church of God Friday morning. While inside, he caused approximately $8,000 worth of damage to the church before he loaded several electronics into his pickup along with the church's money bag. When police arrived and arrested Porter, they found meth and drug paraphernalia on him, and those items may or may not explain an incident that occurred while he was rummaging through the facility. Porter stated he couldn't remember what happened during various moments inside the church, but he did remember baptizing himself.
Oh.
Porter claims that something was holding his head down under the water while in the pool. He wasn't the only one who used the baptism pool Friday. Body camera footage released by the sheriff's office showed a police canine who decided to beat the heat and cool off in the baptismal, too. Porter, who is already out on bond for burglary in Georgia, is now in a lot more trouble.
Jesus, what a character.
He baptized himself.
It's a little self-baptism.
I cleanse myself of my recent sins.
That makes it official.
If you're in the mood to satiate a football fix and you like quarterbacks with an overabundance of arrogance, today's your day. In 2012, an undersized freshman quarterback at Texas A&M had a fervor on the field, rivaled only by his hard partying ways off it. Dubbed Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel captured the nation's attention. But as the money rolled in, the scrutiny heightened and he suddenly lost his way. Untold, Johnny Football is streaming today on Netflix. Making its season debut on HBO and Max, the 18th season of Hard Knocks. This season follows New York Jets executives, players, and coaches as they prepare for the upcoming NFL season with new quarterback/social media influencer Aaron Rodgers. And making its third season premiere, Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez are solving mysteries again in Only Murders in the Building Season 3, now on Hulu. Ooh. 93X wants to spotlight the faces of Minnesota's military. Tell us about a deserving veteran or active duty service member at 93x.com. We'll share their stories on air every Friday morning and make a donation to Folds of Honor in their name. Sponsored by Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch.
Happy birthday.
Punch's partner John Baker on chips. Larry Wilcox, 76 today. Boy, did I love me some chips.
Yeah, you were all over that scene.
I loved that. I wanted to be Punch. Loved that show. Dustin Hoffman, 86 today.
Did anybody want to be John?
Probably not. I mean, he was a nice guy.
I mean, when my brother and I were young, I had dark hair, so I would be Punch. My brother had lighter hair, so he would be John, and I don't think my brother was ever terribly pleased with that.
I wouldn't be excited about that.
Right.
North Star Woodworks Jesus sent in a happy birthday to his son Charlie, born 10 weeks early, 5 brain surgeries later, turning the big 0-2 today, punching life in the face every single day. Glad to hear the news. Happy birthday to you, Charlie, and that's 93X News.
Minnesota Twins interview on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Now Hosey and Anderson square off. They're fighting. They're swinging. Down goes Anderson. Down goes Anderson. Ramirez went in with a head-first slide. Hosey never gets upset about anything. They came up chewing. Anderson squared off. Hosey decked him. It's a 5-1 Chicago lead, but everybody from the dugouts and the bullpens congregated around second base. You never see Jose Ramirez get upset like that. And Tim Anderson was on the wrong side of that punch.
Man, oh man, we're going to talk about that brawl again here shortly. First, let's make sure we got everybody here and comfortable. Well, first off, she might not ever be completely comfortable when she's here. Janel Klein is visiting in studio. Hi, Janel.
Hello.
From the retirement home, we got old Randy Shaver. Randy.
Good morning.
And live from Detroit, it's Twins play-by-play stud Dick Bremer. Dick.
I am here. I am in Detroit. 40 years of coming to Detroit, and I have never felt comfortable here.
That's understandable. Janelle, yours is as well.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah. The home of, Kid Rock and Bob Seger and
Motown.
Yes. Yeah. Ed McMahon, maybe? I don't know why I'm thinking of Ed McMahon. I think Ed McMahon was originally from Detroit. Maybe someone can look that up. Well, I was there once, Dick, many years ago for a Kiss concert. I went to Detroit. That was at the old Tiger Stadium, the old one.
That was a great old baseball cathedral, and they've got a contemporary one here at Comerica Park now, but I have very fond memories of Tiger Stadium, and maybe the greatest Twins memory is the Twins clinching the playoff win in Game 5 back in 1987.
God dang, yeah, that was a beautiful thing to win it on the road. Made it more special, didn't it, Dick?
They won 2 of the 3 games in Detroit, which I think equaled the number of road wins they had the entire regular season that year.
Jeez Louise. And
they won 25 games on the road in '87. That was kind of a sticking point for them.
they were not the greatest road team.
No.
Not that season. They weren't the greatest team on the road. Randy Shaver, I'm sure you remember that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the playoffs are a perfect example. The World Series, I should say, perfect example.
I'm such a junkie for this stuff. We're going to end up just talking about 87 and 91 the entire time. But before, we will move on. But before we squash a conversation about the 87 ALCS and the Twins clinching in Detroit, Dick Bremer, the play that I'll always remember is the pickoff at third base.
I had not seen the Twins pick off a runner at third base prior to that, nor have I seen it since. And we're getting close to 40 years. The thing that's really interesting to me about that is that was put on by Gary Gaetti. They had a meeting on the mound right before it happened, and he and Tim Laudner had worked on that play in Double-A years and years before. And in the heat of the moment, in the midst of, it was the turning point of the whole playoff series because Detroit had won the game before. Mm-hmm. And they're on the mound, and Gaetti says, let's try it. And Laudner looked at him like, are you crazy? This is the playoffs. We haven't tried it in like 6 years, right?
Right.
And so, Laudner gives the sign, Gaetti gives the sign to Laudner that he got it. They're going to go ahead and do it. And Gaetti mumbles something to the third base umpire, watch out. And everybody was aware in the vicinity that it was going to happen except the runner, Darrell Evans, and they picked him off and turned the whole series.
God dang. Seriously, I'm going to get emotional over here, right in front of Janel Klein and everything. That was so huge. And if you want to look that up, I don't know. I don't sit on YouTube all day long. The other day, Dick Bremer, we were trying to find some footage of an old Bobby Smith goal, and we couldn't find it. Some stuff gets, shoved away on YouTube and replaced by newer stuff. But if you could possibly find this on YouTube, Gaetti and Laudner picking off Darrell Evans at third base. Watch Gaetti's body language when it worked. I remember that specifically. Like Gaetti kind of flexed, like, yes, we got. That's what Gaetti was pumped, and it pumped up the team. Okay, we'll sit here all day if you don't cut me off. But
I ran into Gary. He was in St. Louis when we were there on the last road trip, and whenever I see him, that's the first thing I think about is that he called this play, and Laudner was on board with it. And again, I'd never seen it happen before, and it happens on the big stage in the playoffs, and it did turn that whole playoff series back around in Minnesota's favor.
I'm such a dork for this kind of. Did anyone find out if Ed McMahon's from Detroit or not?
Yeah, he's from Detroit. Yeah,
that's great. That's good. Well, the Twins must have done their homework on the Tigers starter there, Joey Wentz. You mentioned it during the game, the results that Joey Wentz had in his prior start against the Twins compared to what they did to him last night.
Well, the Twins had faced him twice before, and he'd given up 7 hits in 11 innings, and they had 7 hits in their first 10 plate appearances last night. So, yeah, they third time's the charm. Is that the cliche? Well, it was last night. And then Pablo Lopez was outstanding, and the Twins ended up with kind of another lopsided win. Which will help the bullpen as they get ready for 3 more here in Detroit and then 3 in Philadelphia.
And the Tigers' bullpen is cooked.
Yeah, the entire pitching staff is cooked.
Yeah. Yep. They had to put a position. For the second time in 3 games, we got to see a position player pitch.
Yeah, that's always, after a while it gets a little boring because, the worst thing was that Michael A. Taylor, I think, struck out against the guy. That's going to be hard to live down.
Did you see that, Randy Shaver?
I did not. No.
Michael A. Taylor struck out swinging to end the top of the 9th against a damn utility player. And everybody had a good laugh over that. That was great. Or does that stuff get tired? See, as fans, Dick, we love that stuff, but does that get a little?
Good, though.
You get a little tired of that in the booth? Like,
well,
okay,
yeah. I mean, it's not ideal. You're basically waving a white flag if you're running your position player out there. Something that's happened just a few times over the last few years. The team winning has done that, and that really stinks. That's not good. That's like rubbing their nose in it. If you're up by 8 runs or whatever, you can actually run a position player out there to try to finish the game, and I hope the Twins don't ever do that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. So 9-3 was the final. Correa goes yard. Jeffers has just been killing the ball lately.
Lopez was awesome.
And Lopez was great.
And while the Twins are winning, the Guardians are losing, and it's a 5.5 game lead now. And a week ago, we were wondering if the Twins were ever going to win another game because they had a 5-game losing streak.
The fighting Guardians.
It's the largest lead by any team in the American League. I mean, that's how fast things have changed.
Yeah, the Braves have a bigger lead, of course, in the National League, and just think what the second half has meant for the Twins and the fans, because at the All-Star break, the Twins were a half game behind Cleveland, and now they're up by 5.5.
There you go. The fighting Guardians are slipping. And I'll tell you, Dick Bremer, if you think Tim Anderson was upset before he got in a fist fight, I wonder how he's feeling now.
He's got 6 games that he will appeal, and at best he might get it knocked down to 4, but I'm beginning to believe the White Sox might be a better team without him in the lineup anyway. He did not distinguish himself when they played at Target Field. He had a line drive about 370 feet to center field, and he took 3 steps out of the batter's box, stood and watched the ball get caught, and then turned around and walked back to the dugout. So I can promise you this, that if Jose Ramirez had hit that same ball, he would have rounded first before he would have returned to the dugout. So,
don't you think that was an announcer's dream, though? Just the way.
Oh yeah, Tom Hamilton handled it great. That was awesome.
So good. He was so good. It was like he knew it was coming, and he just was flawless on that broadcast of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and the funny thing for me, whenever there's something like that happens, you know, watching the guys come in from the bullpen, because they've got about 300 feet to run. They're all out of gas by the time they get to the infield. And usually they don't have anything to do. They just stand around, then they walk back to the bullpen, right?
Yeah.
But I've always wondered, now, where do we draw the line on this? Because here we had Anderson, a shortstop, Ramirez, the runner, and it really was isolated to just those 2 guys. But everybody else joins in. Bullpen comes in from way out in the outfield. I mean, should it extend to the broadcasters? I mean, should we go to the booth next door and start scrumming things up?
That would be awesome.
You know? I mean, I don't know. I've always wondered that, because we've got about as much anger built in us as the relievers should, right? They didn't do anything to one another.
That would earn a suspension more than what Kevin Brown did for the Baltimore Orioles.
That's
weird.
That's a really, really sad deal. I know Kevin to be a great announcer, completely devoted to the team that he's covering, and he gets suspended for actually saying something positive about the Orioles, that, you know, they're no longer, getting beaten up by the Rays at Tropicana Field, and they took him off the air. One of the great shames of this is the Orioles are one of the great stories in baseball this year. So here we are in August, and the ownership has taken a lot of the luster away from what's otherwise a really, really good story in baseball. And I'll say this, because a number of people have already asked me, 40 years of doing this with the Twins, and no one has ever said even a stern word to me about anything that I said on the air. And I'm sure I've said a lot of things that maybe upset some people, but everyone with the Twins has been respectful about the fact that it's not easy sometimes when things aren't going well on the field. And I've worked for both the Griffith family and the Pohlad family, and nobody has ever said anything negative about anything I've said on the air. And it's just a shame of what's happening in Baltimore.
We've never been reprimanded either, Dick.
I have a hard time believing that, but
and I would say that was when teams started going to employing their own broadcasters. That was, I guess, maybe I'll put it in quotations, the fear is that broadcasters wouldn't be allowed to actually, be critical of the team because they're employed by the team.
Okay.
And I agree with Dick. I mean, I think for the most part, most announcers have that, or analysts have that freedom to be able to say what their opinion is, what the truth is,
right,
what they see. What Kevin Brown did, it looks like a script that a producer wrote, basically. It was a segment that somebody put together with a full screen
graphics
board with graphics and just talking points that he went through. And I've watched it now 3 times trying to find what exactly he said that could have pissed off somebody, and I can't find it.
Not to cut you off,
see
Randy, but if folks don't know what we're talking about, an announcer by the name of Kevin Brown, who works for the Baltimore Orioles, or does he work for the Orioles, Dick, or does he work for the television station?
Well, they're one and the same. That adds to the irony. The Orioles own their TV network.
Okay, like you were saying, Randy. So Kevin was talking about how the Orioles had struggled in Tampa Bay's ballpark, but now they're starting to come around. So we highlighted some negatives that they've had, negative experiences they've had in Tampa Bay, but talked about how, it was your typical report. It was very informational, actually.
It's been a minute.
It was informational. I'm sorry. It was informational, and he didn't spice it with words that you would say, why did he say it like that? It was very professionally done.
You have the audio, Josh?
Been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale, June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete. Already got 3-2 at the Trop this year after winning 3 of 18 the previous 3 years combined. It is a stark difference, Ben, and it is not a bad Rays team. It's not like all of a sudden the Rays became slouches in the American League East. They've led this division every day but now 2, and the Orioles once again are back alone in first place.
Yeah. So, and then they pulled them off the air. Whoever's in charge pulled them off the air.
And you listen to it, and the whole thing, everything Kevin said was the bad times are in our rear view mirror, right?
Yeah.
That was back then. Now look where we are. We're ahead of the Rays in the standings, and we've won 3 of the 5 or whatever at Tropicana Field. It's just disgraceful.
That's terrible.
It is
terrible. You guys made great points. It's a shame. And Dick, you are far from alone when it comes to fellow play-by-play announcers and analysts who have shown support for this Kevin Brown guy. That's a kick in the ass right there. True story, Dick Bremer. We had a boss once that encouraged us to drink before we go on the air.
Really?
Well, he thought we'd be funnier.
Yes.
That's what he said.
You know what? I think you should try that with Janel.
She does drink before she goes on the air.
Just as an experiment.
Now, it may sound like we've had bosses like that with the Twins, but that's never happened. We've never had any boss suggest that we drink before we do a game.
God dang.
Yeah, that's a true story. He's like, well, maybe if you guys just had just like a couple of bumps before you go on there.
You know what started it, right, Josh? I mean, I took this as a big-time insult, really, because I got absolutely annihilated drunk on the air. I did. It was part of a controlled drinking experiment. This was hip in morning radio for a couple of years.
They lost control, that's for sure.
You bring in a cop, someone on the air has a couple of bumps. Oh, see, now you're a .06, now you're a .08. And then the cop would say, now this would be the point where you shouldn't drive. It was that whole gimmick. And I had no sleep and nothing to eat. And I told, they asked me if I would do it. And I said, sure, I like to drink. But what I said at the time, I was young. I said, look, I can drink a lot of effing beer. So if you want me to get drunk on air, you're going to have to bring in some booze. And I've never been a booze guy. But, so I didn't even know what to buy, really. I've always been a beer guy. So going back to my high school days, I went and bought a big jug of peppermint schnapps.
Just why? Why?
Oh my God.
Well, I'll tell you why. Actually, I just told you why, because I know nothing about booze. To this day, I'm 52 years old in a month. I couldn't make you a decent mixed drink. I couldn't.
Oh, it's just gonna
All I
kill
know
your
is beer.
tummy.
So I just was jacking down this peppermint schnapps to try to get as drunk as possible, so the cop could say, "Wow, look, he's a 0.13." But the problem was, nobody stopped me, and I became just a mess.
That was pretty bad.
So then, but it was very entertaining. I mean, I'm dumping F-bombs on my coworkers. The next morning, I come into work looking like I just rolled out from under a city bus, and the boss says, yesterday, this is what galled me. Yesterday, referring to when I was obliterated drunk and insulting everyone in town, he said, you really shined yesterday.
Oh, my. I didn't know that part.
And then that's when he approached Josh, and I said, it's okay by me if you have a little. I said, what the hell's the matter with you?
You shined that day? Every time you talk about this story, isn't it like one of your biggest regrets?
It was miserable. I was terribly sick. One more note on this story.
And you really did say some pretty terrible things about some coworkers.
But you know what, Josh? Did they not have it coming?
Oh, they had it coming.
They did. Okay.
But it was uncomfortable once we leave the studio.
It wasn't like I attacked innocent people. These folks had it coming. So, one final note on this story. My parents never listened to this program. They don't care what I do for a living, and that kind of hurts too. I'll get to you. We can talk about that some other time. But anyway, my mother used to. This is again. I was still young. My parents were still in town. Now they've moved up north. They couldn't hear this show if they tried. But my mother used to turn on the radio just to check and see that I made it to work. And she tunes in and hears me in this wild state, and it made her cry.
Oh. No.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. She called me later that night. Are you okay? And I said, who is this? You don't even care what I do for a living. Where were we, Dick Bremer?
Dick, actually, I have a question you were joking about taking on another team in a broadcaster fight.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
What broadcast team would be the most intimidating to take on in a fight?
Oh, wow.
Well, I know I'd feel pretty good, better about these things today than I would have, working with Bert Blyleven. But, I got Morneau, I got Plouffe, I got Perkins, I got LaTroy Hawkins. We'd be able to hold our own. In terms of the other broadcasters, I don't. Ben McDonald was working with Kevin on that telecast, and he's a big guy, 6'6", 6'7", something like that.
Jesus. But like you said, you're a big dude. Blyleven's a big dude. You Perkins, LaTroy, you guys would do all right. What if you took on Gladden and
Provis.
Corey Provis?
Well, we'd have to frisk Gladden to make sure he wasn't armed. And, then it might be a fairer fight, but...
Wouldn't Bert be the secret weapon, though? He would set up a smoke screen.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Release the gas.
Release the Kraken.
All right, what else is going on here? Oh, my God. A listener texted in, Dick Bremer, and wanted me to ask you a question. And I was curious about this, too. I watched Sunday's great comeback game with the Strudel home run and the Wallner home run. I was at a bar, but we did not have the sound up terribly high, and plus there's too many noisy idiots in there anyway. But I didn't get to hear. What was the significance of you folks showing the turtle hat guy so many times during the end of that?
I don't really understand that myself. We got a shot of this guy sitting in the Champions Club, and he had like a driver's cap in the shape of a turtle shell.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the folks in the truck thought that was pretty humorous, and it was odd But I don't know how it tied into Kepler tying the game with a home run, and then a few minutes later, Wallner hitting one off the facing of the second deck. So yeah, I wish I had an answer for that, but I don't.
Fair enough.
Maybe he was wearing it because of the new movie.
The new movie?
Oh, yeah.
The Ninja Turtles movie that just came out.
Oh.
Something like that.
Has anyone on our...
I'll see that one right after I see the Barbie movie.
Double feature.
It was a really good movie. I recommend it.
Dana's seen it 3 times.
Yeah, Ashley, we know. Dana saw it 3 times.
Have you seen? Has it gone up since then, Dana?
No, it's still at 3.
Still 3. All right.
That doesn't seem right.
Which one? You saw Barbie 3 times or the Turtle movie
Turtle
3
movies.
times?
I saw the Barbie movie, but one and done was good there. But the Turtles I've seen 3 times.
Isn't that something?
I like turtles.
Dick Bremer, can you think of any movie? Dana went and saw the Ninja Turtles movie 3. He's 38, 39 years old. He went and saw the Ninja Turtles movie 3 times in a week.
In a theater, I mean, on TV, I've watched a lot of movies, like Uncle Buck and Godfather and those. I've watched those a number of times, but in a theater, no, I don't. I when it was in the theaters a long time ago, I went to see The Exorcist and swore I'd never go see another movie in a theater again.
I'm with you. Yes,
See?
sir.
Oh man, yeah, Randy, didn't you have a story about?
Oh God!
Going to see The Exorcist when you were a high school kid or something?
The hell out of me. Yeah.
What was that? 74, 75?
That and Jaws, and of course, living in Iowa, I'd never come close to an ocean in my life, so I don't know what I was worried about. But that movie scared the hell out of me too.
The director of that movie just passed away, 87
I saw
years
that.
old.
The director of Jaws.
No, The Exorcist.
No, The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, Spielberg did Jaws.
Oh,
He's still going strong.
Right. Oh, man. What else is going on, Dick Bremer? Anything else we need to know leading up to the rest of this series?
No, I'm eager to see how the team plays. We've seen good stretches like this before. But obviously, if this team's going to get to the playoffs, they're going to need to play good baseball for a month, because that's what October's all about. And so we'll see how long they can keep this good stretch going. It's really encouraging to see the lineup produce runs. I'm really excited for the future of Matt Wallner. I think he's going to be a great player for the Twins. He had, in Sunday's game, beyond the home run, the walk-off home run, he showed what a good ball player he is, a strong throw from the left field corner. He beat out a double-play grounder sprinting down to first. He made a great catch along the foul line. So I think Matt Wallner's stock has really risen over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's looking good, and that walk-off was fun, especially with the local ties. One more note on you being in Detroit for the next 2, 3, 4 days.
Okay.
Have you heard of this restaurant called Mom's Spaghetti?
No.
Okay. Listener Jiu-Jitsu Jesus texted in to say that Mom's Spaghetti, which is a restaurant owned by Kid Rock?
Eminem.
Oh, Eminem. Eminem, that's right. We were talking about Kid Rock earlier, or I mentioned Kid Rock earlier. Eminem, the rapper, are you familiar with that guy, Dick Bremer?
Of course, yeah.
He runs a joint called Mom's Spaghetti, and this listener just wants you to know it's only a block or 2 from the ballpark if you want to give it a shot.
Okay, well, I might do that. Isn't Eminem from Detroit? I believe he is.
I know Ed McMahon is. I'm not sure about
that.
Yeah,
but we actually stay a long ways from downtown Detroit, so we don't frequent restaurants or anything else in the downtown area, but I'll keep that in mind.
I see. Fair enough. Well, we'll be watching tonight. Look and see what Sonny Gray can do. 5:40 tonight on Bally Sports with Dick and Glenn Perkins calling the game. Thanks for your time, as always, Dick Bremer.
Let's hope we don't have a brawl. I don't want to mix it up with Matt Shepard and Cameron Maben.
Oh, yeah, Maben, that dude.
I think you got a good shot with Perkins. I think you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. Goodbye, Dick.
Talk to you next week.
There you go. Yeah, next week. Every Tuesday at 7:30, Dick Bremer joins the broadcast. And so does Janel Klein. Hi, Janel.
Hi.
One other Twins note that I read this morning. The Bomba Squad's record is in serious jeopardy.
Ah, that would suck.
Is it Atlanta?
The Atlanta Braves have hit 212 home runs in 109 games. They're on pace for 315, and that would blow past the Twins record.
Well,
they have 9 players in double figures in home runs, including Eddie Rosario with 16.
Eddie Rosario is a cold-blooded pimp.
And Matt Olson leads the majors with 39. Or not the majors, but national.
That's one of my favorite all-time Twins, Eddie Rosario. Well, let's pray for a lot of intentional walks from here on out or something.
Well, records are made to be broken. You knew somebody was going to come along, and the Braves have certainly shown that from the very beginning of the season to now. They have just clobbered the baseball.
Yeah, they're killing it. When the Twins played in Atlanta, what was that? I don't know, a month and a half ago?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, Joe Ryan gave up 5.
I remember saying the Braves look like a team that could win the World Series. I mean, just cakewalk the World Series.
Yep.
Real quick, so we were talking about this poor bastard in Baltimore, the announcer, Kevin Brown, who gets thrown off the air for no reason.
Right.
Just stupid, frustrating, shameful. It brought me back to a story from the Clay Boy, my old bro Clay Matvick. Did you know Clay at all, Janel Klein?
A little bit, yeah.
Me and Cubby ran around with the Clay Boy for a stretch of time when he was in town, and working for the Wild and working for the Twins, Golden Gopher hockey. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's just a great guy. I'm a big fan of Clay's. I remember many years ago when he was working for the Wild or for Fox Sports North or whatever the hell it was at the time. I'm not all that tuned into, if you see a guy on TV or a girl on TV, who are they directly working for? So sorry, I don't know if he was, if his bosses were the organization or the television station, but I can tell you this much. There was a member of the Minnesota Wild bosses who was very upset with Clay one night because they're in Calgary. The Wild are playing in Calgary, and at the time, Clay was the let's check in from the sideline type of a character, right? So let's check in with Clay, and Clay standing behind the glass. Well, they've got 6 shots on goal. That was the role he was playing. And I think the story he told me is he told me they kept bugging him. We need you to talk to somebody. It's a boring game, right? They needed him to find somebody to check in with between whistles. And so he found Miss Nude Canada. Somebody told him, Miss Nude Canada's sitting over here. He was looking for someone to talk to fill some time. Miss Nude Canada's over here. So he talks to her. It was very clean cut. Hello, you're Miss Nude Canada? Yes, I am. Who are you going up against next year? Well, I'll be taking on Miss... And then all hell broke loose, and they were all mad at Clay.
I bet that would perk some ears if they're just kind of vacuuming whatever they're doing, and they say Miss Nude Canada. You might tune in.
And I think when he told me the story, his argument was, well, you guys were pumping me to find someone to talk to. We do have a hell of a lot of young dudes that watch hockey back home in Minnesota. I didn't think it would be, she didn't take her top off, nothing. He just had a conversation.
Miss Nude Canada.
Miss Nude Canada.
Such a title.
I'd like to meet Miss Nude Canada. I'd like to meet the gal who finished last. But that's just me. Oh, what else is going on, Randy Shaver? 31 years ago today, the Dream Team won gold at the Barcelona Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
With that prick, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. One of the greatest documentaries I think you can watch on television is I think it was HBO that put together a documentary on the Dream Team. Maybe it was ESPN. What a great...
I had the privilege of covering their practices in San Diego before they left.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
That's when Christian Laettner was drafted by the T-Wolves, right?
Oh, back to Detroit real quick. For the first time since Ford Field opened in 2002, the Detroit Lions have not only sold out their 2023 season tickets, but will have a waiting list going into 2024.
On the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team, not trying to sound like the Vikings don't have a good chance to win the division. I think they do, but this Detroit team's exciting. And when Jamison Williams gets off this suspension of 6 games and is able to play for them, it's going to make their receiving core 5 times better. They've got a chance to be really good. Now, they've got some really young guys that are unproven in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs is running back with David Montgomery, and the receivers opposite Amon St. Brown are not household names, and they've got a rookie tight end in Sam Laporta from Iowa. So they've got some pieces to work out, but those draft picks that they've used on those young guys have all paid off, and they've built this thing really from the ground up. It's pretty. They're going to be pretty good. They're going to be tough.
I'm not playing games. I'm not going to try to kid anybody. I was rooting for them to win the division last year. I'm going to do it again this year. Let's go, Detroit Lions. Nobody's with me?
Well, I prefer the Vikings, but if it's not the Vikings, them. They're fun to cheer for.
The Vikings. Boring. The Lions are where it's at. Last Saturday, Ford Field hosted SummerSlam, Wapple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a buddy who traveled down for it. He said it was a great time. Got to meet a bunch of wrestlers, old-time wrestlers at those conventions that they have and stuff. Looked like a blast.
Who'd he meet?
Lex Luger, Scott Steiner,
Dude.
$1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Oh, no, Scott Steiner.
I knew that would send chills down your spine.
I thought he was going to kill us that morning, Josh. I thought he was going to...
I forget. How did he feel about St. Paul?
He
Do you
did
remember?
not like St. Paul.
Was not a fan of St. Paul.
Scott Steiner walked in here, and I think he had some hoochie mamas with him. That was his gimmick back in the day. Didn't he always holler at the hoochie mamas?
Yeah.
Wasn't that his thing back in the day?
Yep.
Scott Steiner comes in here, sunglasses on, doesn't say a word, sits down in the studio with Josh and I. 27-inch arms, veins popping out. We try to make small talk with him before we went on the air. Doesn't say a word.
That's brutal.
So awkward.
Like we had Natalia in yesterday from the WWE. Scott, that for whatever reason, WCW thought, well, let's send Scott Steiner into the dopey morning show to sell tonight's program in St. Paul. We go on air. He's stone-faced. Here he is. Going to be performing tonight in St. Paul at the old Civic Center for WCW Thursday Night Thunder. Good morning, Scott Steiner. And he says, first thing I want to say is that St. Paul sucks.
That was so awesome. He even took off his sunglasses to say it. He was so passionate.
And I said, don't argue with him, Cubby. Run, Cubby, run.
That's too good.
That's pretty cool. Your buddies got to see those folks.
Yeah, made me all more excited if we get to WrestleMania because, everything that comes with it, like Natalia was saying yesterday, it kind of turns into like a week-long event.
Wapple said if we get WrestleMania, he's going to run for Miss Nude Canada.
Yes, I will. I'll do anything to get a WrestleMania.
Valuable information here, Randy Shaver. In the opinion of some NFL Network character named Scott Hansen, the Hansons. I throw up my hands. I can't control them. What movie? Slapshot. In the opinion of NFL Network personality Scott Hansen, the Jacksonville Jaguars have the most advanced urinals in all of professional sports.
You're about to see the most advanced urinals in all of professional sports. Jacksonville Jaguars headquarters. All right, that's a sensor that will measure your hydration level. If the light turns green when you go, you're good. If it's yellow, you need to hydrate some more. If it's red, you're probably going to get a notice from the athletic trainers and maybe have an IV.
Isn't that something?
That's kind of cool.
They've got sensors in the urinals over there at the Jacksonville Jaguars training facility.
Is this for the team or
Yes,
is this?
for
I
the
mean, it's
team.
not the public restroom.
This is for the maintenance department. Yeah, it's for the athletes so they can
So you
tell.
can't just go to a game and get your hydration level measured?
I'm sure that'll be coming down the road. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the guys in the maintenance department can use the urinals and then bust each other's chops over who needs a Gatorade and who doesn't, but this is for the athletes. You take a whiz bang, and it lights up and tells you whether you're in good shape as far as hydration or you need a little more or if you're on death's doorstep.
They're making those for just consumers, and it'll
I'm sure they are.
hook up to Wi-Fi, right, and go to your doctor.
I believe. Tell by the color.
What's that?
Can you just tell by the color?
The color of your urine?
Yeah, they say if it's clear, you're very hydrated. And the darker yellow it is, the less hydrated.
I've
you are.
heard all kinds of stories. I don't know the truth behind what's what there. I'm not trying to start an argument here, but I do think that I am the most hydrated man in the county. And I'll battle anybody to the death on that.
Well, I'll take you on the hydration off.
You would have no chance.
Oh, yeah, Dana drinks a lot of water all day.
Oh, there's no way he drinks as much as Daddy does.
Oh, but is it water or Gatorade?
I drink water.
Oh, really?
I drink Gatorades here in the morning, and then I bomb myself with water in preparation to get drunk.
Oh, yeah, those are like the only 3 things you drink, right? Beer, Gatorade, and water?
I throw a little milk on top of my cereal once a while, and I get together and eat a couple bowls of Oops All Berries.
Uh-huh. I'd get in on that hydration challenge.
You're good, too, Cubby.
Yeah. I drink a lot of water.
You'd at least make the playoffs.
What about the peppermint schnapps? What happened to that?
Jesus, I drank all of it. There's none left.
And never again?
Oh, hell no. Like I said, I'm a beer guy. That was just for on-air purposes that I drank. I was
that
acting
was for
like
show, Janelle.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, and like I said, I didn't know what I was doing.
I've never had any type of schnapps.
Well, when we were young kids, when we were young guys, we'd go ice fishing. We'd bring a little bit of schnapps. It was just kind of a gimmick.
I love that you went to the liquor store and you had all of those options and you went for peppermint schnapps.
I could only rely on past experiences. Like I said, I was going back to high school, and I thought, well, what did we used to bump on?
I remember in high school, everybody brought, it was like peach. That's the one everybody had.
Yeah, there was a lot of that at junior high parties and things like that, the peach schnapps.
Gross.
I drank more peppermint schnapps, Janelle, than a ski slope full of Swedes on that particular morning.
I take it because Janelle is scoffing at it that in Faribault, schnapps weren't allowed.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
came out of the faucet there.
Yeah, they drink moonshine down there.
Any scoffing.
Yes.
I'm not going to interrupt any scoffing directed towards schnapps because it was brutal.
What was the drink of choice in Faribault,
Well,
Janelle?
I think there was some schnapps. I also remember a phase of apple pucker.
Oh, yeah. I remember that being big.
That was big.
And Fireball.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Fireball. You don't like Fireball? I thought that was your thing.
No, not at all. No. No cinnamon. I like, we had a listener text in one time. I still use it to this day, and he called it bitch whiskey.
Bitch whiskey.
I've heard people say terrible things just like that about Fireball. Bitch whiskey and this and that. A friend of mine recently came home from a weekend and he was just garbage for 2 days. He could barely move. And then he told me, well, I drank some homemade wine and some moonshine. And I said, well, you're 51 years old. What are you doing? You're going to drop dead. What's the matter with you? What are you, an outlaw from the 1700s or something? Yeah, I didn't feel very good for a couple of days. I drank homemade wine and moonshine. Yeah. Not a kid anymore.
Earlier, we were talking about how we had a boss who told us we should drink before the show because maybe we'd be funnier. And Painfully Dry Humor Jesus said it actually works. He drinks before our show every day, and we're definitely funnier. No, we're supposed to drink, not you.
That's not good. Were we talking about the Vikings? They got no chance in the division, but here's some Vikings news for you. It's going to be all Lions. The Vikings pissed off some fans, I guess, here a day or two ago. They signed some dude to play wide receiver. There's no guarantee he's going to stick around for longer than training camp. His name is N'Keal Harry.
Yep.
And the reason that Vikings fans are butthurt is they assigned him jersey number 28, and these fans are saying, well, that's not right because Adrian Peterson wore 28, and he's the greatest of all time. That's the route they went down. Anyone butthurt about someone wearing 20?
No.
I'm okay with that.
Right.
You go into any thrift shop or Goodwill, you can find about 50 to 28 purple jerseys right now.
and if the Vikings cared enough about that jersey number, they would have retired it for Adrian. So.
Good point.
Anyway, when I see 28 on a Vikings jersey, I'm thinking about Ahmad Rashad.
I was just going to say that. That's the guy I would first think of is Rashad. Bobby Moore.
That's right. Do you want to get into this Pokemon thing?
It is interesting, I think.
I know we've talked about this.
Is this the ball player or the
Yeah.
player? I don't know that much about it. I read the headline of it, but I didn't really dive into it.
We've talked about this guy before. Blake Martinez, he played a little linebacker in the NFL. I have no real memory of seeing the guy play, but he retired and got into Pokemon cards. And forgive me, I know about as much about Pokemon cards as I do hard liquor. He collects and trades Pokemon cards, and he's made a lot of money since he quit football. But now he's been banned from a website called Whatnot, where they specialize in collectibles, trading cards, sports memorabilia, comic books, and all that stuff. People are accusing him of scamming customers out of large amounts of money with this Pokemon gimmick.
So how has he been doing that?
They say he's been swapping high-value Pokemon cards and Pokemon card packs for ones that had lesser value after selling them. I don't know what I just said.
Oh, that's not cool.
So there's some that are like holographic cards. Like you could have like a holographic Blastoise, and then you could just have a regular Blastoise, and he's switching them out.
Okay,
So you're saying that he is telling people you're going to get this in trade, but when the trade actually happens, it's not what he promised? Is that kind of the idea here? Okay.
I mean, this is millions of dollars he's making on this.
Yep, those can get very expensive.
It'd be like someone saying that you're getting like a Joe Mauer rookie card, but then you just get a Joe Mauer card.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Well, Martinez himself, he says he's had a target on his back ever since he entered the Pokemon universe, and people are out to get him, kind of a thing. He's made somewhere around $11.5 million in the Pokemon business. $11.5 million, Janel Klein.
It's a lot.
Pokemon.
I had friends that were really into that, like the unboxing of cards. They would do
Yeah.
it like online and like watch videos of other people doing it, just getting like these crazy expensive cards.
I got a set of the original Kiss cards.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if those are worth anything.
Probably not much, but I got them.
Not like the old days where you jump on your bike and ride down to the drugstore and you'd have 30 cents in your pocket. You'd get 3 packs of baseball cards, and the only thing you cared about was the stupid gum.
I was just gonna say, did you
The
guys have the
gum was
ones with the gum in there?
The
Yeah.
gum was the best gum. I mean, it was the flavor would last for about 2 minutes.
It was the best. Oh, you're exaggerating. It was the best 5 seconds of gum chewing you could ever imagine, and then it was friggin' over, wasn't it, Randy?
And it was powdery on the back
Yeah.
of the
Oh, yeah.
card. But, you know, I used to collect baseball cards and football cards, but mostly baseball cards. And I can remember having quite a few really good cards. And, of course, like every other kid in the 60s, my mom threw them all out, you know, once I went on to college or whatever, or cleaned my room one day or whatever it was. But the thing I remember the most is the gum. That's what you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's if people would have known then that the card business was going to be what it was, and it's gone up and down, right?
Yeah.
There was a time where it was huge and then it dropped, and
It
now
was
it's coming
invisible
back.
for quite a while.
That's right.
And now it's
back.
massive.
Yeah.
By the way, this is great. Ojibwe Jesus texted in. He knows things. You know, we were talking about Miss Nude Canada years ago. Clay Matvick got in trouble for talking to Miss Nude Canada at a Calgary Flames game. Calgary Flames, Minnesota Wild game. And I was saying, hell, I'd like to meet the gal who finished last. Ojibwe Jesus says he knows the gal that finished last. It was Miss Nude Wisconsin.
That doesn't even make sense.
Oh, my God. Did you see this, Josh, that a sheep got loose on the field at a CFL football game?
I sure did.
That's terrible.
This is on our website, is it not?
Yep.
Ashley?
Somebody's date got loose for the night. Yeah, they were trying to play a Canadian Football League, Randy, up there in Saskatchewan. And a sheep jumped on and it went running around.
It's kind of cute. I like watching the person run
I have
after
a
it.
lot of questions, but we were running out of time.
Yeah. The sheep was there to promote a youth rodeo or something. I didn't want to give that information out. I just wanted folks to walk away going, who the hell brought a sheep to the friggin'...
Right. You know. I got to say, I was a little disappointed, too, when you found out there was a reason the sheep was there.
Yeah, it was so Canadian, like a sheep could just wander in, buy a ticket.
Yeah, that's funny.
But then, the Saskatchewan Football Club, they scored a touchdown after they had to put this sheep down with a blow dart. And no, I'm kidding. They escorted it off when they got the sheep off the field, then the Saskatchewan club scored a touchdown. So now they're calling it the Rally Ram. And they want to bring it to every game and give it a luxury suite. Fill it full of schnapps.
I would like to see it go drunk on schnapps.
I can introduce you to some dudes, Dana, where it's pretty much a goat drunk on schnapps. You know how it is. Everyone, Randy knows what I'm talking. He's an Iowegian.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. We better wrap her up. But Randy, we hope you had fun.
I always have fun.
Yeah, you always have a good time because you show up pretty buzzed.
Yeah, have a couple of bumps.
I mean, I've took your boss's advice.
Yeah.
I start about 6:30, so I'm good and warm by 7:30.
You really shined yesterday. That's how we said it too. That's how we with that tone.
Cringy.
When I was .36 f-bombing everyone in and the thing is, the guy hadn't complimented me. Not that I need anyone to come. The guy had barely acknowledged my existence up to that point. I go .36. I'm basically pantless in the hallway telling everyone to S my, that's when I shine. Appreciate that. My mother cried.
Best day of your broadcasting career.
Cubby tried his best. He couldn't even contain me.
Yeah, you were pretty out of control.
But I shined, didn't I?
You did. You shined.
Randy, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Never had a good day since.
We will have more with Jupiter Jane when we come on back.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey Minnesota, CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
It's time for kickoff, and the Believe podcast will get you ready for the new season.
How do you live through this as a Detroit sports fan?
Believe has podcasts covering all 32 professional teams and many of your favorite college teams, too.
You solidify your defense. You got better.
Sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone.
If you don't do those things, then you're not even trying your hardest to win at football, and I don't know what we're doing.
There was a lot of great players on those teams that I was fortunate to be part of.
Search BLEAV podcasts wherever you listen.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Again with the Half-Assed Morning Show, you're probably saying. Again with the Jungle Jane in studio. Yeah, we got Janel Klein here. Hi, Janelle.
Hello, hello.
Here we are again. It is 8:32, and we're having a good time. I'd like to dial back to a subject that we tried to get to last week, but we ran out of time. It's about, well, I don't think that slobs is the right term for this topic. We'll get there. We've covered slobs on this program, slobbish behavior, about my OCD. This is a little different. Barstool Sports put together a bracket of what they call the biggest slob moves. More or less, if you ask me, this is just about gross behavior. When I hear the word slob, I think of someone who leaves their clothes everywhere, someone who doesn't clean up after themselves. I don't necessarily, to me, I think it's more fitting to just refer to this as gross behavior. It's more just, they've bracketed out certain gross things that people do, and you pick which one is more disturbing to you. And feel free to tell us why if you want to make that kind of an effort, okay? Gross behavior, bracketed out. They're looking for a winner. So let me throw some of these your way. Some of these things I don't consider gross at all. like the second choice in this first matchup, licking sauce off of your fingers versus kicking ice cubes under the fridge?
It's kind of a lazy move more than it is a slob move.
Yeah.
Licking sauce off of, okay, forget about kicking ice cubes under the fridge. I mean, who cares?
I stopped doing that once I got my own place. I was like, wait.
I'm sure your parents appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, maybe I don't want water under my fridge. I'm gonna not do that.
There's a lot of
ceiling
things.
is leaking in the basement.
There's a lot of things that we all stop doing once it's our sole responsibility, isn't there, Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah, things you stop or start doing, that you should have been doing or not doing for a long time.
Is that
leaving dishes around too? That's a big one.
Does that trouble anybody when someone sucks or licks the sauce off of their fingers?
I'm not a finger sucker.
I don't mind. I don't like watching kids do it. Like if they had Cheetos or something. Ugh, that's a huge ick.
I don't like watching kids do anything. But, I mean, I try my best, like, say, if I'm eating ribs at a restaurant, which I did not that long ago, I try my best not to be licking my finger.
That's what sleeves are for.
Right.
And pants.
The sucking makes it even worse. When you actually hear someone, with
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it on the radio.
Thank
so
you.
Someone will vomit. But, I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. What do you think, Janelle? People licking and sucking
I don't know.
the damn, what do you call it? What did I say? Sauce
I
off of
feel
their
like
finger.
we're going to hear worse. I'm bracing myself.
Maybe.
I don't think in the big scheme of things that's as bad as many other things.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And Josh didn't believe me I don't know how long ago this was. I brought up a friend of mine that, as an adult, will lick a plate clean.
Pick up a plate
Yes.
and
Yes. They will pick up, especially something like wings. There's sauce on the. He will pick up the plate and lick the sumbitch clean.
I bet that drives you nuts. You're not a sauce guy.
No, luckily I don't see it often. I've seen him do it a couple of times. No, I'm not a. All right, here's our next matchup of gross behaviors. Some of this stuff kind of throws me. Okay. All right. Maybe I shouldn't have squashed altogether the theory of slobbish behavior. And I mean, like I told you, I thought that the majority of this was more or less just gross behavior as opposed to lazy behavior or slobbish behavior. Because number one is just more lazy. Number one in this next bracket. Cleaning up a mess without a napkin or paper towel.
I got to admit, I didn't really get that one.
You use your hand to maybe
I don't know.
Swipe crumbs off a table?
Is it just because you leave the crumbs there? You don't do anything to clean it up?
Well, it says cleaning up a mess without a napkin or paper. So you must just be using your hand or again,
Or your sleeve.
your sleeve to versus leaving food in your car.
It's way more gross to leave. It depends. Is it winter or summer?
and what the food is.
Yeah, true.
Well, okay, right. If you
I can tell you there's an expiration date on open beef jerky in your car, and I found that out after eating about 3 green pieces, not paying attention.
Dude.
That's brutal. Sure, okay. If you want to get detailed about it, yeah, there's a big difference, in my opinion, between leaving a half-eaten bag of Cheetos in your car and a tuna sandwich.
My wife always has car popcorn. There's always bags of popcorn in her car. A lot of it on the floor, some still in the bag.
That's the worst thing to eat in your car.
Yeah, I've told her.
I love that she picks the most difficult thing.
All right. Cleaning up a mess without a napkin or a paper towel, you use your hand. Some people would be very grossed out by that. You guys know that I'm wildly OCD, so I get out the 409 and a roll of paper towels faster than you can say Jack Robinson, and I'm wiping down all the.
I use my sock a lot, if I drop something on the floor. Yeah,
Wipe
just
it up with your
step on
sock?
it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we might be getting to that. My mother is on the topic of leaving food out. My mother is very brave. She will, speaking of tuna fish sandwiches, she's a big fan, and so am I. I love a big fat tuna fish sandwich with some pickles and some whatever else you put in there. I don't know how to cook, but I love a tuna fish sandwich. My mother will eat half of say a tuna sub and then wrap it up and just leave it on the counter. And then eat it 6-8 hours later, maybe even the next day.
Dude, I'm totally like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on, you don't put it in the refrigerator?
I mean, I don't eat like tuna and stuff. But like I've definitely made a Jack's pizza before, left it on the counter,
that's different.
Came home the next day and ate it, even though it's been sitting on the counter all day.
A pizza, I think, is very different than a cold tuna fish sandwich with mayonnaise and whatnot. And
I have never only eaten half a sandwich or half a pizza. So I don't know if I would do something like this.
All right, this next set of competitors. Leaving out a spitter. Or here we go with the socks, Ashley. Wiping the toilet seat with your sock.
Okay, what? Who's doing that?
I've wiped the toilet seat with my sock.
Is this like a dude thing?
I have never done that.
I mean, it's not a regular thing. I have maybe a couple times in my life just figured, well, I'll get rid of that.
What happened to the
of course,
409 and all that kind of stuff?
Well, that was before I got into before the OCD took full hold of me. I'm talking about number one here. I hope you understand.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you're not getting a lot of number two on the seat.
No.
I don't have that dexterity. Anyways, I couldn't lift my leg that high.
Well, not anymore. No, this is years ago. I can remember years ago when I was a young guy, a couple times I drugged my sock across the toilet seat,
I know some people really are grossed out by it, but I don't. That chew spit doesn't really gross me out.
Oh.
Like if I saw
bother me either.
somebody leaving a spitter somewhere, I wouldn't really care. I mean, I know some people it's like that's a lot of spitters out there. You got quite a few sitting out there. That might be a little different.
Some people can't stand the sight of a spittoon.
Yeah, not at all.
I don't like when they're very full. That grosses me out because I used to. My ex-husband was a chewer, and so when I would like go around the house and clean up the house, it would start to gross me out.
See, here's the thing. It's all about time. Is what it's all about. Like some people just get grossed up by this. Janelle, if you and I sat down and had a couple beers, what if I had a little, a cup with some napkins in it that was my spitter? Would that throw you?
No.
Okay. My brother and I lived together when we were young, and we both were wild all day long chewers. The problem is when you leave them for days and days and days.
That can get bad.
They get all sludgy. It starts to
It smell pretty bad.
Collect at the bottom.
The smell is unbelievable. And we were lazy and young and stupid, and we would, we were those guys that would get the liter bottle of root beer or whatever, drink it, and then make a massive collective group spitter. You cut the top off and turn it upside down so it's like a funnel. You tape it back together, and they would friggin' reek. And then you'd get multiples. You'd have your buddies pop by, and they leave their spitter on this table. For a while, it was bad. And one time, I accidentally kicked over this spitter that had been sitting there for months. I still can't get the smell out of my brain.
Oh, man.
So there's different levels to all this. Okay, this gross out contest here from barstool.com is what we're talking about. Someone who walks around with it just simply says hand in your pants versus drinking soda in the morning. This must be the minor leagues here of this competition. So someone who will, like an Al Bundy.
Well, they got hand in your pants at number 4.
You mean like as a 4 seed?
Yeah.
Okay, someone who sits around with their hand down the front of their pants. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, that is kind of gross.
Yeah, if you're in public and stuff, that's gross.
Well, even if you're not in public. If Josh and I are sitting on a couch together watching a friggin' movie and your hand is for some reason tucked comfortably down the front of your pants.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, because like Al Bundy would have maybe just one knuckle in.
Yes.
But that's not as gross if you're all the way in there.
I'm picturing a hand down, like down.
Where my wrist has disappeared?
Yes. Unless we're firing up some playtime.
Right. Both hands.
Drinking soda in the morning, God, that's all I did from the time I was 2 until I was 32.
Yeah, I don't get why that would be considered slovenly.
I used to think that was really disgusting before I started working here, and then watched you guys do it all morning.
Sometimes it's just necessary for survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's 7 a.m., you've been up 4 hours.
You drink pop in the morning, Janelle?
I do.
Coffee?
I'm not a coffee drinker, so
You
to
do drink.
Ashley's point, when I have to get up early and I need caffeine, I will absolutely drink pop in the morning.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either. That's kind of weird to me.
All right, now we're getting into the big leagues, aren't we, Cubby?
We are.
This is a very interesting list. You know, I'd gone over it a couple of times. It didn't really grab me. This is a really interesting list with very different items all mashed into the topic of gross behavior or lazy behavior. Here's the next matchup. When you are an adult man and you still have a go-to rag for
cleaning up spills?
Releases.
All right. I thought that if you're an adult and you're a man, you just use tissue and paper towels and stuff like that now.
Well, this is probably where Janelle wants to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, Janelle. What do you think?
This is probably where Janelle doesn't want to make a sound other than laughter. Having a go-to rag as an adult male
That's so gross.
is the first of the two. The other is having food grease on your remote controls, phones, and computers.
What? That rag is so much worse.
Well, I don't know.
Such a long shot.
I don't know about that. I mean, I can't figure it out, but everything that my son touches, there's food grease or something. I'm constantly wiping stuff down. I'm constantly asking him, what's going on with your hands? Why can't you figure it out? Wash your hands. And then I have to try and tell him how to turn on the faucet without using his hands, because that gets disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
That would really trouble me.
Yeah, like you said, remote controls, door handles, light switches, anything he touches.
See, that turns my stomach. If ever I grab a pen or something and you can tell someone had something on their hand, that troubles me. It really does.
I hate seeing bite marks on pens that you're using. Oh, dude, someone just chewed this pen and I've got it in my hand.
Oh, really? That doesn't bother me.
And back to the grown man having a go-to rag. When does any guy of any age have one go-to rag? What are you, some kind of sick animal or something?
I've never.
Are you a maniac on the loose? What are you talking about?
It's your favorite rag.
Was there dudes in our listening audience? God help us! Please tell me you never had one rag.
Sometimes you hear about that with socks. There's a particular sock. Yeah, I've never had anything like that.
That can't be a thing.
That's really creepy.
Every time you partied, you use the same. That's got to be the trait of a sick killer or something.
You're committed.
More of this matchup, gross behavior, when we come back. I got to read these texts if anybody out there, the friggin' rag that they went.
I think our text machine is not working very well today.
It's because you cursed that one guy out?
I think that's it.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
God, it's freezing in here. We're back here with Janel Klein, and we're going to up and walk out of here before you know it. But not before we get done with this lazy/gross behavior topic from a website called Bartenders? Barstool Sports. They listed a series of gross/lazy behaviors that some of us are known for, and we're going to try and pick which one we think is worse, or just discuss. Our text machine appears to have stopped working, so if you're trying to get a hold of us, we apologize. We haven't been able to respond, so for you fellas who are going to send in your shirtless gym pictures, you have to send them directly to Janelle's cell phone. You guys know the number, right? Yeah, you know that. Here's some more of these gross behaviors, lazy behaviors, whatever. See what you think. Burping during eating. I don't like burping.
Neither do I. Gross.
And
don't do it in front of me.
And the other that it's matched up against leftover food in your bedroom. That's also very gross in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like burping. I just don't.
I'm with you. It's gross.
I mean, sometimes Cubby will launch one here in the studio. It's funny every time. But like if we're sitting down to a meal and somebody, what's happening? Afterwards, I think I can handle it. Leftover food in the bedroom, that's pretty gross, especially after a certain amount of time. I used to know, tell me what you think about this. I used to know this dude. He lived with his dad. Grown, 26, 7 years old, something like that, living with the old man. And I've never seen anything like the horrors of this guy's bedroom. Plates everywhere. Dried, I can't believe I'm even going to say this out loud because I might vomit. Dried ketchup on the plate. Old sandwiches, mold, Cheetos, fries, tater tot. The dude, every damn day, it appeared to me, would whip down some kind of a meal, real plate, real silverware. They weren't smart enough to get paper plates and plastic forks, which is the way to go.
For real.
And he just put them on the floor, put them on a table. It was, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It smelled in there, too, because of all this old food rotting on the... And I was kind of so horrified, I didn't say anything. Someone else said, dude, how can you live like this? What are you doing with the plates everywhere? He lived with his dad. You know what he said? It's not my house. It's my dad's house.
Oh my God.
If he's got a problem with it, he can take care of it himself.
Oh,
Gross.
my God. Weren't there, like,
Right
flies
on. I'm
or
on his
something?
side.
Pardon me?
Weren't there, like, flies or, like, what?
I mean, I probably didn't even notice the armies of insects that... So what do you think, Janelle? Someone burping like a damn...
I think I would take that over the dirty dishes in the bedroom.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's pretty gross, isn't it?
Probably.
Here's an interesting matchup. Brushing your teeth too fast?
What?
What the hell?
Oh, because then you're spraying stuff everywhere?
Oh, I did not understand. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, well, who the hell's business is it? How fast do you brush your... Oh, so it's sloppy. It's running down your face. It's flying all over the...
Ugh.
And that matchup is, what they have here, the way they say it, is eating insanely. I'm guessing they mean sloppy eating, firing
No,
it.
fast. There is a word left off there.
Oh, eating...
Yeah, eating insanely fast.
Insanely fast. Brushing your teeth too fast or eating insanely fast.
Jeez, my boyfriend would be screwed if I had a problem with him eating fast. That man, I could make us both a plate, put his plate down, go to grab mine, and by the time I get back, he'd already be finished.
Is he from a big family?
No. Oh, I guess he does have an older brother, though. So maybe that has something to do with it.
I'm not a fast eater. As a matter of fact, I think you define me as a slow eater.
Yeah, I'm really slow, too.
I don't care if you eat really, really fast. Just keep it in your friggin' mouth. And I know I lose my cool to a point that's unhealthy when we talk about sloppy eating, but you have to understand where I've come from. You have to understand my beginnings, my upbringing, my rearing. My dad is one of the most horrible people you could ever watch eat something. If you live to be 1,000, you won't see someone as horrible to watch eat than my dad. And his family were all the same. It just doesn't... They could have a friggin' chicken wing hanging off the end of their beard, and they wouldn't know it, and even if they did, they wouldn't care. It's horrible. I've had to ask him to wipe food off of parts of his body where you didn't think it was possible he could drip food. Or it's... Again, sorry that I get so fired up, but I had a tough run as a kid. It's probably why I'm so the other way. Finally, and we got to get out of here, don't we, Cubby?
Yeah, it looks like we're overtime.
Really?
We're going to get in trouble.
Not washing your hands. I was the last guy you'll ever see wash their hands up until this pandemic came to town.
It made me change,
Me too.
like you, Nick. But then I've noticed lately I'm slowly going back in my old habits. Yeah. I've caught the bug, if that's the way to say it. Now I'm a hand washer. Before that, you'd never catch me washing my hands.
He even washes other people's hands, if you notice they didn't do it.
That's nice of you.
And isn't it weird? I mean,
Yeah, I'd never seen you wash your hands before the pandemic.
Yeah. And there are people who really hated me for that. They couldn't. Germaphobes, is that the term?
Yeah.
Not washing your hands is going up against sniffing your underwear to see if they're still clean. Ugh. Gross. I mean, not my own. Hell no.
These are clean. Don't want these. No, thank you.
Janelle came all the way from Faribault just to be grossed out by our radio program. That's not fair.
Yeah, there were a couple in there that you didn't need to be here for.
At least we're going out on a high note.
Sniffing undies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is an extremely high note.
That's the way to go.
Thanks, Janelle.
Thanks, you guys.
See you later.
See you.
Copenhagen Long Cut Jesus said happy birthday to a dude who's made it 20 years longer than he should have, and he's referring to himself. Happy Taco Tuesday.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.